McAfee Show.
There will be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Yes,
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good day, beautiful people. It is Friday, September 18th. Let's let the beat drop. Big thanks to Adam Shine for the incredible introduction there. I think his show was awesome. We listened today. Can't thank him enough here on Mad Dog Sports Radio Channel 82. I got a feel-good football Friday for you. Last night, the Cleveland Browns at home in front of a rather loud dog pound that was sitting socially distanced away from each other got a big W in an in-state rivalry game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Baker Mayfield looked like he was Baker Mayfield once again. Looked like he was having a good time. He was out of the pocket. He was celebrating. I think he flexed on a sideline at one point right in somebody's face, and the camera cut off immediately upon that happening. I was not pumped about that. Leave the camera on the guy that is currently flexing, because if he's doing that, that means Baker Mayfield feels very good. And we might have overreacted with how bad the Browns were after week one because they got slaughtered by the Baltimore Ravens, who I think everybody is now realizing is going to be unbelievable for yet another year. But last night, the Cleveland Browns get a massive win. Now, they did not cover. The Cincinnati Bengals covered, which is great for this particular office. I fell asleep, but I watched that this morning, and I celebrated hard when my FanDuel account was up by a couple thousand. Thousands of dollars, and that's because Joey Burrow doesn't have quit in his name. Joe Burrow is a guy who's going to be an electrifying football player. Will Joe Burrow fall victim, though, to the same thing that Andrew Luck fell victim to, which is he's going to get his ass kicked and be asked to do too much here too early, and will his love of the game and his body be able to keep up with it? He threw the ball 61 times last night in one game, in his second game ever as an NFL quarterback. 61. In comparison, Baker Mayfield threw the ball 23 times. So the Cincinnati Bengals are relying heavily on Joe Burrow, which doesn't make a lot of sense because they just paid Joe Mixon. But with that offensive line, you're going to have to get the ball out of his hand quicker, whether it's handing the ball off to Joe Mixon so that the offensive line can maybe drive forward a little bit and not just have to sit back the entire time because you're passing the ball 61 times. So you're allowing Myles Garrett to basically pin his ears back and just go eat the entire night, which could be problematic for an offensive line. Hand the ball off. But I think Joe Burrow has displayed and showcased in the last 2 weeks everything that you could potentially want for a quarterback to lead your franchise. He's super cool in every big situation. He's confident. He has this aura about him when he's on camera where you think, you know what, that dude right there, he's got whatever the hell it is. So much so, LeBron James tweeted that he's got
What?
it.
The king?
The king, LeBron James.
Jeez.
LeBron James says he has the it factor, and by the way, takes one to know one. That guy also has the it factor. I assume he's pumped up about the Ohio kid coming back to Ohio, and I do believe we're probably a couple years out from the Bengals being any form of relevant in the AFC North, but Joe Burrow is going to be a stud there for a long, long time. I wonder in what year Joe Burrow will get an indoor practice facility over there. But that is TBD. Now back to the Browns. Odell Beckham Jr. got back on the board, 4 catches for 74 yards. And before the game went live last night, I was watching the NFL pregame show, and there was a press conference from Odell Beckham where he was basically laying out, like, hey, everything you guys say about me, every narrative that's ever been said about me, that is not, like, I just want to win. He said he doesn't care how many times he gets the ball. He doesn't care how many points he has. All he wants to do is win. And he said that is the only thing he's focused on. And to be honest, with how long he spoke about it, it felt like it was real. And it felt like he was sick of the antics that everybody always bring up. Because he says, and I agree with him, in the last couple of years, aside from the national championship ass slap to a cop that was in a locker room trying to tell people how they can and can't celebrate, By the way, shout out to police. Hey, shout out to police. It's a very hard job. I understand that. But then he gets an assault charge and all this stuff, and everybody's like, same old Odell, same old Odell, same old Odell. And I disagree. I think if you watch all of last year at Cleveland, when it was a complete cluster truck over there, I mean, everything was a hell in a handbasket. That team stunk. They were calling terrible plays. They were doing terrible things. They were the Cleveland Browns of the days when the Cleveland Browns were at their absolute worst. That was last year in Cleveland because they had all these weapons. They couldn't win a game. Odell Beckham was not loud about it at all. Odell Beckham was not a toxic personality. Odell Beckham didn't come out and say, this head coach of ours, Freddie Kitchen, who was just once a tight end coach, now he's the head coach and offense coordinator, called a draw on 4th and 18. Odell Beckham didn't do that one time. All he does, and it feels like he truly has bought into winning, and he thinks they can do it in Cleveland. And if you're the Cleveland Browns, I think you've found the winning recipe for your squad. In the backfield, in 2016, I believe, Kareem Hunt led the NFL in rushing. Okay, 2016, I believe. 2017, maybe 2016, whatever. He was the NFL rush yards leader. Last year, until week 16, or maybe even week 17, Nick Chubb in that backfield was the NFL rushing leader. And then Derrick Henry took over for him the last week and then obviously did his thing. So they have two running backs in the backfield who have basically won rushing yardage championships in the NFL. Then you add Austin Hooper, who is a known road grading tight end who can also make plays. Obviously, he's a great athlete, but he's a great blocking tight end. Then you pay Jack Conklin from the Tennessee Titans. He was the right tackle on the Tennessee Titans team who had the rush yards champion just a year ago. Then you pay Kareem Hunt. It is very obvious that Andrew Berry, the new general manager of that Cleveland Browns team, views their offense as a run-first offense. And I'll tell you what, there is nothing wrong with that at all, especially in the AFC North when you're going to have to be able to keep offenses off of the field. For instance, Lamar Jackson off the field is good news for your team. So if you're a run-first offense, you can control the time of possession. You're not giving them turnovers on short field because if Lamar Jackson has a short field, he's going to score. Justin Tucker's not going to miss. Seems like an idea of, hey, this is going to be our identity. We're going to run, and then we're going to use the play action, which is great for Baker Mayfield. Everybody said, well, Baker Mayfield needs play action. Every quarterback needs a play action. There's not really any quarterback that doesn't love having a great play action fake whenever your rush and your run team is doing good. So I think the Browns found their recipe of success. Do I think they'll be great this year? No. Do I think they'll be good this year? Maybe. But the Cincinnati Bengals, I think, showed to us last night that they are a team that is going to be rebuilding for the next couple of years, and they kind of stink, and there's some things going on like that. Joe's promise. But the Browns showed us what the future will look like in Cleveland, and it all goes through that run game, and then on the defensive side, they're going to have to get healthy and maintain the healthiness, and then just keep it moving. I enjoyed the game last night. It was a great game, high scoring, action-packed, two quarterbacks going back and forth at each other, and Joe Burrow never quit, so he covered for the pocketbook. That is what I like to call a successful Thursday night. Joining us today, Darius Butler will be joining us in about 15 minutes. He locked in the Joe Burrow over 238.5 pass yards last night. That hit, just like every other bet we basically talked about in this office hit last night. It was a very, very good night for office and gambling. We'll talk to Darius Butler in about 15 minutes. What he's predicting for this weekend as well. Seems like he's been very hot. Let's go ahead and ride that wave into the weekend of success. Then we have Nick Mangold, New York Jets legend, Ohio State legend, joining us in the second hour. And in the third hour, Joe Thomas, the man who was on Thursday Night Football last night and the man who started like 70,000 straight games for the Cleveland Browns, played in 0 playoff games. I mean, that guy, one of the greatest left tackles, some say the greatest left tackle in the history of football, stuck in Cleveland his whole career. He's got to be pumped to see the future seems to be going through the run game, which every offensive lineman will love. We'll talk to them. We'll take your calls. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. We can't wait to talk to you on this Feel Good Football Friday. We'll break down week 2 going into the weekend. We'll talk some college football. The NBA is still happening. I mean, we got a great Friday for you. We can't thank you enough for watching or listening wherever you may be. The voices you'll hear in the background, at Tone Diggs is here with a very fresh hat, looking to not make the same dumbass mistake he made last week when he cashed out early of a plus $42,000 or plus 42,000 bet that would have made him about $10,000. He cashed out for $200 because he wasn't sold on the Georgia Tech program. Now you're going in this weekend, probably feeling pretty good about some bets and excited for another weekend on the couch watching football.
Yeah, all you can do is hope to learn from your mistakes and mistakes, and hopefully.
Well, you were a snake. Some would say.
I am a snake.
No, you're not a snake. In that moment, you kind of slithered your way out of that thing.
Well, I was thinking they don't have a spine, or I'm not sure if they have a spine or not, but I was hoping to grow one of those this week too.
Attaboy, how'd it work out?
Probably not great, but when you were talking about Andrew Berry and building through the run, and we always talk about the coach and the GM being on the same page. If you're going to do that, you hire Kevin Stefanski, who they ran the ball percentage-wise fourth most in the league last year with the Vikings as an offensive coordinator. So it's good to see a Cleveland GM, for them, potentially making the right hire as far as schematically being on the same page.
Well, and also, there's been a lot of rumors that Odell's on the trading block. I assume that last night those conversations will probably slow down in the media world. Yikes. Sorry, I just chugged a green tea. It got me there a little bit. I thought I just about died from green tea there. That can't happen. But I think after the first week, there was a lot of that conversation because it felt like he wasn't as happy as he was last year. We're 1 week into this thing. They're obviously rebuilding, teams failing, blah, blah, blah. So it was a big talking point for the media. I'd assume, though, that there is a potential conversation to have behind closed doors. Like, do we still want to pay Odell the amount of money we're paying him when we are transitioning away from this particular style offense? But if you have Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry and you have a good run game, I mean, that is everything you could possibly need or what. I mean, the Chiefs right now have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who they're trying to, they're treating like a rookie, basically, letting him know he messed up a lot, although the world was telling him how great he was, which he was, and he's another dynamic piece of that Chiefs offense. But they are going to have a great run game, and they have all those weapons. If you're the Cleveland Browns, you're like, hey, listen, it'd be great to be able to keep these weapons, plus be able to build in a run game. But if there's a little smoke talking about them trading, I don't think it's because they don't think he's performing well or they don't like him. I think it's strictly because they're potentially thinking about the scheme change that they're about to go and undertake here, which is the run game, run first. Do we need Odell Beckham Jr.? But we'll keep up with that conversation. It'd be nice if they could keep him out there. That offense looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Him rolling out, getting outside the pocket, throwing some good balls. He threw that one stupid pick, I think.
Down the middle.
Backside.
Yeah, but when you're in points range, you can't be throwing picks. Like, that just can't happen.
Yeah.
Now, granted, as a former special teamer, like, you can't do that. I mean, it hurt a lot of people in this room. It helped me out that he did that, so I'm appreciative of that. Yeah, me and Ty really cashed in, and Gumpy, I believe we cashed in pretty heavily for that. But those are the things you see. You're like, can't do that. But I think it looked like a lot of fun to be a Cleveland Brown last night. At Boston Connors here, the Celtics are just getting absolutely boat raced by the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. That has to be a lot of fun for you, knowing that the Patriots are really your only hope now at this point.
Yeah, I had a wonderful day yesterday. I bet on the Celtics and the Browns, so those both out. Those turned out pretty well. But with the Patriots, exactly, it's football season. I didn't even remember that there was an NBA game on last night until it was on.
I really believe that the Patriots are going to beat the Seattle Seahawks. Like what I just said right there is going to get, could potentially come back and punch me right in the suckle. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
sure
that
could. Or it
particular
could be
one
positive.
could punch me in the suckle. But for whatever reason, I had this feeling just as soon as they signed Cam, and I've had this feeling, I guess, throughout my entire existence in the Patriots' existence, they'll figure it out. I just honestly think that they'll figure it out. The question this morning for me on Get Up was, do I think Cam Newton's going to have over or under 50 yards rushing? And I asked the question to Hembo, the stats guy over there. I said, well, what has Bill normally done against the Seattle Seahawks? Because Bill Belichick is a known guy that if he sees a weakness, he's going to attack that weakness. If he's playing you in ping pong and he realizes you don't have a backhand, he's hitting that son of a bitch to your backhand for 21 straight points if he's going to beat you 21-zip in that particular fashion. Like, that is just what he did. And I asked, is Seattle running the same scheme? Yes, running the same scheme, just a new piece with Jamal Adams running down in the box a little bit more. I was like, well, then I'd assume that Bill Belichick has his idea on how he wants to attack this thing. So they said, well, he threw a lot because they were down a lot. And I was like, well, to hell with it. They're not going to be down this game. They're going over 50 yards rushing for Cam Newton.
Yes.
And I truly believe that fist bump between Josh McDaniels and Cam Newton on the sideline, I think that was a conversation of like, just wait until we start doing boom, 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 boom. And I think a lot of those boom, boom, booms that I'm referring to is Cam Newton and misdirections happening with him on the ground. Now, granted, they'll probably open it up more. I think he only threw the ball 19 times or something like that last week. They'll probably open it up a little bit more for Julian Edelman and the other guys because that'll help out the run game. But I think they have So many ideas on deck to get Cam Newton out of the pocket with the ball in his hands. And we only saw a little bit of it last week. And I think this Sunday night, we're going to see even more. We're going to see that offense continue to evolve. And I know Russell Wilson had a hell of a game last week. He was damn near everybody saying he's going to win the MVP this year. That's a lot different than playing Gilly Lock in the boys in New England and Bill Belichick in New England. I just think for whatever reason, the Patriots are currently getting 4 points. I like that, and I like the plus 172 money line this weekend. And it pains me to say this, but it feels like the Patriots are going to be able to do this all year if they want.
Hell yeah. And we talk about how important is the run game. Like, if we hold on to the ball and we control the clock and Russell has to throw the entire time behind, make him one-dimensional, we'll see what happens with old Gilly Lock and J.C. Jackson.
It is very interesting to think about. And I don't know why it's plus 4. That's a large number, by the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the Patriots have laid eggs before in the past and just moved on completely. And I don't think the Patriots are going to go undefeated this year. I assume they'll lose some games. But until they prove otherwise, that they can't just figure shit out whenever they want to, I'm going to go ahead and ride on Bill Belichick. I'm just going to bet on Bill Belichick, and I feel very, very, very safe doing that. Okay, I think Bill is going to figure it out. I like Pete. I respect Pete. But I think this guy over here is going to figure it out more, and that's how I bet. I don't bet on the X's and O's, Diggs. What do I bet on?
The Jimmy Joes.
Bingo. And this particular Jimmy's name is Billy, and it's Billy Belichick.
Hell yeah.
And I just had a Subway sandwich, and he made me even solidify it even more that that's what this guy's doing.
I will be excited, and do you think they may try to open up the passing game a little bit more, seeing that Matt Ryan threw for 450 yards last week? I mean, it's not the same team. It's not the same circumstances. But if you see a team give up 450 in the passing game a week before, do you think –
We play to our strengths and we attack their weaknesses. So I would assume that if they think that's me and Bill Belichick saying that. I would assume if they think they can expose the back end somehow, but they still don't have weapons.
Correct.
I mean, they still don't have Matt Ryan has somebody pretty notable in the old passing game.
Few of them.
That basically a few of them, but one in particular that everybody's like, this guy's the guy. Anybody that plays football is like, this guy's the guy. So Julio Jones is a little bit different than what's going on in New England, but I would assume that there is some thoughts of we got to do this. But he said whenever they had Stidham, before they even had Cam Newton on the team, he said, just like we did with Jimmy G and Jacoby Brissett and Hoyer and Castle and basically everybody, we will design an offense to their strengths. We will play to their strengths, what they can do, and we will win games. Basically, he was saying, it doesn't matter who's on the team. Which is why I'm banking on them to get a win on Sunday night. And I think the world might act surprised, but I don't think you should. At this point, it's like, for 20 years, this guy has been able to figure out the salary cap better than everybody else. He's been able to keep his teams motivated more than anybody else. He's been able to decipher codes and rules better than anybody else. Let's just assume now that he is one of the best athletes to ever exist at quarterback with a chip on said quarterback's shoulder, that he's going to be able to figure it out. Schmidt, what do you got?
With that line being the way it is, too, with the Pats being 4-point underdogs, from everything we've seen so far, I mean, it's still early, and obviously they do have to travel up there, but it seems like home field advantage is kind of non-existent, too, because they're not going to have any fans in the place, so it is almost just like straight up, who do you think's better?
Yeah, the 12s are a big, massive.
Right,
that is
huge
a big
advantage.
part of it.
Draw the most offsides.
I am very pissed that I never got to play there. That's a pretty deep answer, so I don't know if I'm going to... That is maybe my biggest thing that I missed from I didn't get to play at that stadium because every time it comes on, they're like, "Oh, this place is louder than everybody else," and then they do the decibels thing. This sounds like you're behind an F1 plane, whatever they do that whole thing, and I don't know how it could be much louder or different than some of the places I've been. But everybody's like, no, it is. It's different, the way it's built and everything like that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty bummed that I didn't get to experience that because I love that type of shit.
Did you say Denver was the loudest you've been in?
No. Houston. Houston was the loudest place I've ever been at. Viva Lazito here, by the way, keeping up with the internet. We will announce his poll here right before we go to the break. Pretty good poll, by the way.
Don't even know it.
I think people will get active on, but Houston was always the loudest. And I never understood whether this place is louder, this place is louder. Then you start realizing that some stadiums are built to be loud though. For instance, Lucas Oil Stadium here at the Colts, it is built for comfort. Okay. It is not built to be loud. It can get loud, but the way it is built is not to make sound echo or be louder. It's more for comfort purposes. I guess that Seattle Stadium is built hey, this thing is an echo chamber. So whenever you yell, the person your voice is going to bounce off the forehead of the son of of a bitch across the stadium, and it's going to come back. So we'll be hitting Cam Newton's ear holes on both sides here with your one yell. Like, from what I've been told, that's how it is. So I wish I could have experienced that type of gladiator atmosphere. But yeah, without them, which, by the way, I don't know how, probably none, I guess.
Yeah,
Seattle,
I don't
none.
think, definitely not.
The XFL, I mean, they had that guy serving
Nachos.
concessions, so I don't think
He started it all.
He's the guy that ultimately
He had patient zero.
had the XFL go bankrupt, which now means The Rock owns it, obviously. I'll be excited to see how The Rock feels about the extra workload of putting together an entire league.
Yeah, no easy task.
I would assume he's hiring out and all that stuff.
Probably have someone else do it.
But that feels like a lot. That feels like a lot. Like there's going to be a lot to do. I hope they do well. But without the 12s, you're right. That is a very different ball game over there. And I don't know. I like Russell Wilson. I think he's good. Like, hey, I think the defense is good. Like, I think they're a very good team. Russell Wilson played for the Yankees. I mean, the son of a bitch is a great athlete. He'll be able to figure it out. He was just that type of guy. Everything he says, some people say corny, genuine. A lot of people say very genuine. That's what he is. And I just don't think he's got it against the Patriots. I just, for whatever reason, that was almost going to be my lock. That was almost going to be my lock of the weekend. Instead, it turned to Chiefs minus 8.5. Go ahead and pick that up a FanDuel with a super boost at minus 115 to plus 150 boost. Chiefs minus 8.5. I think they potentially win, I don't know, by 30. 30, maybe 40 at this point.
Does watching the Bengals last night and then knowing the Bengals lost to the Chargers or they should have beat the Chargers last week help you with that bet?
Yeah. And also, I mean, we're in Andy Reid season.
Yes.
True.
Andy Reid season before last year was like all the way up until December-ish.
Yeah.
Whenever he got to November, December, he had already used all the plays that he had. He had already beat everybody by 20 plus because they couldn't keep up with what his big brain was coming up with. But he couldn't keep any plays in because if he liked to play, he was calling a play. Now he's got so many weapons, he can just draw up new plays as if he's doing a Etch-a-Sketch on his fucking dry erase board. Andy Reid season. We're in Andy Reid season, and his team is hot.
Yeah.
I just think 8.5, although that is a large number for gambling, especially in the NFL, I think you could probably alternate line that thing potentially up to maybe 17, 18.
Whoa.
Yeah, I honestly believe that. Zito, before we get to this first break here, what is the poll of the day that I feel like is maybe our best poll yet? Like thought-provoking, conversation-starting poll at Viva La Zito. What is it?
Yeah, so 10 years from now, who has the better quarterback legacy? Baker Mayfield, Joey Burrow.
Wow.
What do you think, Zito, after watching last night?
I don't know. Baker was throwing seeds last night.
He was. A lot of people were tweeting that.
I think he's back.
Threw a good ball.
Is that why he did? It was tight.
He threw a good
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of pass breakup.
Good
It was pretty
zip on
tight.
it.
Good zip.
He looked like he was comfortable too.
Yeah.
But that Bengals defense, I think there's a chance that a couple of us in here could have had a pretty good night.
Probably.
They couldn't stop a thing, it looked like.
No.
They're missing everybody on
Didn't
the
get
D-line.
any pressure on him.
Joey Burrow's just getting absolutely killed, but they're still in the game. They go down 2 scores. He's still in the game. That Cleveland Browns offense never looked uncomfortable. They looked very comfortable.
From the start.
Legit. The overhit too, which just I don't think anybody expected, especially with the way those two were playing.
20.
Yeah, they overhit pretty hard. So good Thursday night. We'll preview this weekend. We'll also talk to Darius Butler on the other side of the break about what he likes this weekend. Why did he like Joey Burrow so much last night? And should we maintain betting on quarterbacks over under pass yard with Darius Butler? Does he feel like he's going to be 100% on the season? I think he does feel that way.
Yeah.
He's very confident in that Joe Burrow thing.
Watches a lot of tape.
We'll take some of your phone calls, 1-888-MAD-DOG6. Also, your Twitter questions, hashtag Pat McAfee Show live. Zito will be scanning through those. This is That Show. Friday, September 18th. We're back on the other side.
Lucky to be here at the Northrop Hall with the incredible crowd. College Game Day is having a blast here. Minnesota has shown up. Row the boat, Sky U-Mall, go Gophers. Let's get the axe and keep that thing in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is about to lose their minds. Ladies and gentlemen, watch a man maestro a crowd like Coach Lee Corso. Give it to him.
Now he'll say to me, works every time. What?
Every time.
You just can't dog pee on a field. This obviously led to a nightmare situation for Luke Logan, who misses the extra point. An absolute pandemonium happened. But in Dwayne Haskins' defense, the Redskins and Dwayne Haskins might never win a game again. That guy's flexing like DJ Fleck a little bit. Goodell's a little bit delayed. He got me the throw. Throw the flag. Sell your soul. Who hates Iowa? A lot of hate here in Minnesota, Maria. Hey, you look good, pal. For me, right after we leave this octagon, I'm going to Lake Minnetonka. I'm pulling a swordfish out of there. Then I'm going to stop by Paisley Park. I'm going to pay my respects to Prince in the Purple Rain. Then I'm going to walk into TCF Bank Stadium, and I'm going to say,
This is the Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
She's right.
Yeah.
I've never met her or talked to her. But that's a pretty cool Pat McAfee show.
Yeah, great bump.
Is that a
Great
real
bump.
person?
I don't know. It might be a robot. You're right. I didn't even think about that. 2020, you know. It's also September 18th. Feel Good Football Friday. Week 2 of the NFL kicked off last night with the Bengals and the Brownies. Woo! Joe Burrow threw 61 times, and he eclipsed the over-under that everybody had him set at 238.5 yards. The man who told us to hammer that bet, secondary legend in the NFL, host of the Man to Man Pod, ladies and gentlemen, Darius Butler.
What's up, fellas?
Oh, man, you look like you're coming right out of like a gaming convention here. We got the big headset on. You got a studio.
We're ready, man.
Yeah. Hey, Darius, big night last night for Joe Burrow. Ultimately, they cover but end up losing to the Cleveland Browns. What did you see out of Joe Burrow last night that made you think, you know what, hammer the over. He's definitely going to get at least 238.5 yards?
Like I said, he was coming off playing a tough Chargers team up front and in the secondary. Felt like Browns have way more holes on defense. And, it was going to be a short week. So short weeks, when you're going in, you're not putting a lot more into game plan. You just got to kind of go out there and play. And I feel like that's kind of when he plays his best ball. But getting out there, I mean, that O-line, they got to protect him. Man. He's a talented kid. We all see he can be the future. But, you got to protect him.
I thought about Luck a couple of times last night when I saw him just standing in there and getting absolutely slaughtered. I couldn't help but think about Luck by the way, Luck used to put our team on his shoulders whenever he was a rookie and a young guy and win us victories. And he threw like 40, 50 times sometimes, and he was just getting absolutely killed. And it was like, hey, can we think about maybe keeping this guy around for like maybe 10 years? Maybe can we think about that? And then obviously injuries happen in the NFL and stuff like that. But with what was happening with Joe Burrow last night, just getting his ass kicked, that has to be addressed at some point. 61 pass attempts, that's a lot to put on this dude while he's getting his absolute dick kicked in. I mean, there's a lot that has to happen over there in Cincy, but they have to be pumped about what's going to happen going forward.
Oh, for sure. It got to be. But like you said, you got to protect him, man. And the guys around him got to help him out, too. Because Luck won a hell of a lot of games for us, but he had, A.J. Green got to be like a Reggie Wayne type guy. Yep. You got to have another guy that steps up, like T.Y., Kobe. Like, they had a great class and a great group of weapons who, held it down for him because he was out there kind of sometimes by himself. You saw some things similar to Luck as well, taking some hits that were kind of on Burrow. Sometimes you just got to throw it away. You just got to know when the play is over, and you see some of that in him as well. He has that ability to make plays in the open field. It kind of sneaks up on you like the same way Luck did. So you just got to take care of the kid, man. Hopefully we see him around for 10, 15 years, but they got to help him out, man.
Sneaks up on you athletic-wise. That's because they're Caucasian.
No, Taysom Hill doesn't sneak up on you. Come on, we know.
Oh, there early though. He was
sneaky,
hard hat, crafty.
Yeah. First one in, last one out.
Hard hat. Lunch pail guy.
Yeah, lunch pail guy. Adam Thielen, he ran like a 4.2 or something, and his entire first year, he was just blazing folks down the sideline. They're like, you know what? Crafty athlete here. Very sneaky athlete. It's like, no, that dude is that's a freak athlete right there. You can say
good football player, man. I mean, he's one of those guys you just almost forget about. Maybe it is because he's white. Who knows? Flacco was the same way. Flacco was like, you see him on film, take off and run. But when you're actually playing against him and he takes off and getting open field, like Luck was always moving faster than he looked probably on film. So that definitely catches you off guard. It's like, you see freaking little ass Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson on film. You see it. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe it is a black-white thing. Who knows?
Well, hey, listen, I'm not making race into this. You are. Joe Flacco. Did you say Joe Flacco snuck up on you how fast he was in real life?
Yeah, Joe Flacco could roll. He was tall, probably about 6'6", probably. But once he started striding, he was moving. And if you were running next to him, it's just some guys don't look as fast on film, and then you see him in real life. Okay, these guys are really moving a step faster. So he was definitely one of those guys. A-Rod could take off when you get moving.
Oh yeah, and he always smiles too and talks shit to whoever it is. He always gets the edge and always gets out of bounds. It feels like that's like Aaron Rodgers' move. He's the sneaky athlete for real that nobody ever expects him to be able to get to the sideline and gets in there. I would love to be inside your mind when you're running next to Joe Flacco and you're like, this son of a bitch, kind of fast.
Hey, moving, and then it's hard. It's hard tackling guys, quarterbacks, period, in the open field because you never know when they're gonna go for the slide, and when they're athletic, it makes it it's tough, man. So it definitely puts you in a bind as a defender, not a good feeling.
All right, let's talk about another quarterback that played last night who is athletic, but I think not as athletic as the ones you just mentioned there. Great quarterback. Baker Mayfield, though, last year, every time he got out of the pocket, he got caught, and he was not being set up well at all. Freddie Kitchens, was putting him in bad spots on a regular basis. Last night, they changed their offense very, very much. You could tell that this is going to be a run-first offense. In the backfield, you got a rushing yards champion in Kareem Hunt already once before. Nick Chubb was leading the NFL in rushing until week 17 last year when Derrick Henry took it over. They bring in Austin Hooper, Jack Conklin. It seems like they're going to be a run-first offense, which is a good idea in the AFC North, by the way. It's a good idea. But what did you see out of Baker Mayfield last night that made you, or maybe made you not think hey, he could be the quarterback of the future for the Cleveland Browns with what he did last night against the Cincinnati Bengals defense, who did not look great?
Yeah, that's part of it. The defense didn't look great, and that was kind of how he got all of us his rookie year. Playing well against bad defenses early, and then we didn't see that progression. He's getting better. He's got a better play caller, I think, with Stefanski. You saw a lot of Kirk Cousins, Minnesota type things. They started off the game with, I think, 2 boots. The first 2 passes, he rolled out to his left, had a completion. Next one rolled out to his right, had a completion. So kind of had a defense off balance. And then, like you said, started kind of playing through the run game. You got 2 bell cows at running back. We all remember who Kareem Hunt was before the incident. Like you said, Chubb was balling last year. So that's the recipe for success in NFL. You can play through that run, get favorable matchups on the outside with Odell and Jarvis, then take advantage of those, and they did a great job of that all night. And I said it, like, we kind of still don't know who a lot of these teams are, who a lot of these guys are, how a lot of these things are going to work, because that was the second time they got out there and played some real football. So probably 4 or 5 weeks into the season, we'll have a better idea who's who. But he looked good last night. He looked real good.
He was throwing a great ball, it looked like. So even the passes that you would think he might miss in the past couple, either last year or last week, the first week, he was putting it on people. Even on the run, he was putting it on people. It was fun to see, and it looked like he was enjoying himself, which is a massive part of it. Let's go back to the run game. You're talking about how every team is basically going to be like that. The Chiefs, they were feeding CEH. I mean, just feeding. And they have more weapons than anybody. They have a weapon every single skill position. It feels like their offensive linemen could play wide receiver if they have to at any point, but they're good there. They just started feeding Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Is there any reason to think against that Chargers defense that Cincinnati stayed in it with, that they don't win by 30 this weekend against the Chiefs over the Chargers? Are the Chiefs going to win by 200 points this weekend, you think?
It could get ugly, man.
Yeah, I think so.
That defense, like you said, got a lot of holes in it. There's so many weapons on that Chiefs team, and then you can sit back and hand it off to Helaire, and he can move those sticks. And if you start to do anything to, hey, we got to handle the run game, you got Patrick Mahomes, and like you said, just a sickness of weapons. So it can get ugly. What's the spread on that game?
8.5. The spread's 8.5. Did you just say a sickness of weapons? That's a dope. That is a
great phrase.
That is a great phrase. We got a sickness of questions for you over here. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, Debo, one of the games we've already started to highlight was Patriots at Seahawks. Do you think the Patriots secondary can slow down Russell Wilson, and would you take his over or under in passing yards this weekend?
Oh, damn. I gotta watch more, honestly, to give you a real answer. But I mean, the thing about Wilson is he's not like Patriots are the best man to make it lock up with anybody. But the thing about Russell is he has that improv. He just the musician. He makes things happen. You can't game plan for it. You can have the perfect rep, but then somebody just breaks. And then the weapons that he has with Metcalf, Lockett, like Carson, like these guys get out and make plays. So it's I don't know, man. I'd probably go to over with Russell because I think it'll be a close game and he'll have to be throwing it all game. So probably over.
The line has not come out yet for him, so asking you that question was a wild question to be asked. Because if that's a 350, I mean,
I don't think it's gonna be that. It'll probably be 290, something like that.
Who knows what it'll be? But I do have a question for you as a DB there. Gilly Lock got 2 pass interferences last week. On those teams like the Seattle Seahawks, where there's extensions of play, and you play the style of DB or corner like Gilly Lock does, is pass interference going to come into play rather large this weekend? You think?
You know what? Pass interference is not that terrible of a call sometimes. It depends on when you get it because that kind of can mess with receivers sometimes. You see it happen to Odell a lot. Like when guys are beat, like I'd rather just grab you, take that, 15, 20, whatever, but you're not getting involved in the game. You're not hyped. The quarterback's not really feeling good. He didn't hit a 30-yard completion. So as a DB, especially a top-tier DB, I know even Deion, I used to talk to Deion Sanders about, and he would say, yeah, I'll grab a guy because that kind of mentally messes with you. So and Belichick goes in the game like, hey, we're going to do business as business is being done. So if they're letting you get away with some grabbing, some holding, we're going to do it. They're not going to throw 30 flags, especially on the Defensive Player of the Year. So you'll probably see that every week. They're going to be aggressive. They're press man-to-man team, and you got to have that. You got to be sticky. You got to kind of stay connected to guys when you got guys like Russell Wilson who can extend plays.
Okay, so that's very interesting to think about because I am a big mental guy. Like, I think if your head's right, you're probably going to play a lot better. And you listened to Steve Smith talk last night before the game, and he was like, they got to get OBJ involved early. Because if not, he could potentially just kind of check out of this entire thing. That's what wide receivers are, though. Wide receivers need to get their hands on the ball early. They need to be known that they're in the game. Like, that's just kind of comes as a part with not every wide receiver, but that is a very known thing. The thought that a pass interference, although it might be 25 yards early, but the stud on their team still hasn't touched the ball, still hasn't really gotten into the game, I never even thought of that until now. Every time I see a pass interference, I'm like, oh, that's a game changer there. And then it's like,
that's not always a bad thing. Somebody hit you with a dumb move, you grab them and jog them back to the other, like, hey, you had my ass, but I'll probably get you next time. So it can be kind of a win. You give up a 15-yard penalty, you give up a 50-yard touchdown catch. I'd rather give up that penalty any day of the week.
Well, and they can't review pass interferences anymore because Alberto Riveron couldn't get one Goddamn call right.
That was terrible. I hated the idea anyway. That was terrible. Terrible idea. Throw it out.
No, I like the idea. I just thought the execution was terrible. The idea was right, I thought. I did. Yeah.
We need to change that damn onside kick. That's the only rule that needs to be changed.
I agree. Onside kick needs to be changed. I think there should be some sort of change because last night, down 6, a miracle could happen there, but everybody knew there was basically no shot unless Young Ho Koo was kicking it. There is no shot
chance
of an onside kick getting recovered. That is a rule that needs to be changed. But the pass interference review, I don't think it was the idea. I don't think it was the concept. I think it was the executioner, and his name was Alberto Riveron, and he ruined it every single time. Diggs, you got something for Darius?
Darius,
What's up,
how are you?
Good, man. How you?
Hey, you gave us that hammer down yesterday. Obviously, there aren't over-unders for quarterback passing yards yet, but is there a quarterback this weekend that you see that's just going to absolutely thrive?
You got Matt Ryan against the Cowboys. All right?
Yeah.
I think watching the Cowboys last week, it's still like it's just guys just messing up just normal things that you wouldn't expect. Like I posted a clip on it with a cover two drops. They got young guys at corner. They got Diggs out there as a rookie. They got 2-4 out there. They got a young group back down that back end, and Matt Ryan threw for 450 last week. So against a pretty good Seahawks defense. So I would probably whatever his over is, I'd probably go over with Matt Ryan versus that Cowboys defense.
All right. So Darius says even if it's 400 yards, go over him, right?
398.
398. Darius, we appreciate you so much for joining us, man.
Appreciate you for having me, man.
Are you watching golf back there? You're a big golf guy. I forgot about that.
Big golf guy. Come on, U.S. Open. Come on, bro.
How's the NHL going? I know you're a big NHL guy as well.
It's something. Something had to drop out. Had to take priority. I got my Heat. They're kicking ass. They're up 2-0. That'll probably be over soon, so won't have to worry about that for too much longer. But it's just a lot going on right now.
DB, we're in the final.
Oh, you just got rid of it.
We're in the final. They're about to award the cup here in the next week.
It's about to be over.
Sorry, man. Nick let me know. Maybe I'll catch a 6 overtime game after one of these football games.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Get lucky.
Ladies and gentlemen, Darius Butler.
Appreciate you, fellas.
Thank you, man. The thought of Matt Ryan just dominating the Cowboys, I didn't even think about that.
The Cowboys, are they on the ropes already?
Are they a team that people are circling now? Like, hey, look at this team to stink.
Are they going to be 0-2? Their chances for the playoffs drop 87%.
12%, yeah.
Is there a...
Yeah, what is going on? That's outside.
There's an 8-alarm fire right next door.
Is it really?
What is Tim
like
doing?
attached to us?
Oh, I have no idea, but it sounds like it.
Oh, come on. It sounds like there is a fire truck in our studio right now. There's nothing smoking, I don't believe. There's no vitamins even being in.
There's been a lot of action from the fire trucks this morning. Yeah. This was going on, 2 hours before the show as well.
And those that don't know, there's a methadone clinic here right across the street. And even though coronavirus shut down everything in Indianapolis for the last 6 months, stricter rules than California, New York, maybe even combined for the COVID-19 response by the mayor of Indianapolis. That methadone clinic did not slow down their service.
Lights stayed on the whole time.
Lights were staying on because, by the way, it's good for health and safety, which is good news. Had to do that. But there are some interesting decisions that are made in our downtown Indianapolis that I could really run on right now because I'd be speaking for an entire state of people basically about a potential stooge making decisions that are happening right now. But I would not be surprised if there is a 6-building fire happening right across the street.
Very possible.
Oh, man. So if you hear the sirens, we apologize for that. We don't mean it. Let's get to some phone calls, shall we? Let's go to Big Jake over there in Washington. What's going on, Big Jake, BJ? Okay, fella.
Hey, it's actually Wisconsin. How you doing down there, bub?
Hey,
it's actually Wisconsin.
What's that?
Yeah, it's actually Wisconsin.
Did I say Wisconsin?
Wisconsin. Yeah, Wisconsin.
Washington.
Oh, I said Washington? That's 100% on me. How big are you, Jake? Who's called you Big Jake?
Big Jake?
Pretty much everybody. It was actually my dad's nickname back in high school. I'm 6'2", 230, so.
Big body.
It's solid.
Big Jake.
Long hair.
15 pounds lighter than me. Same size, roughly. But Big Jake. I like Big Jake. I like that.
Big Pat. Yeah.
Big Pat. Big Jake is Big Pat. What do we want to talk about?
Let's go. Real quick before I get to my question. Quick shout out to the boys. I've already listened to the podcast that came out this morning, It is my favorite podcast. It's the best thing going right now. The guys are ridiculous, but they do a bang-up job, so much love. Just keep it going.
And by the way, the pod video files are coming to YouTube, I believe.
Hey, now.
Wow.
Yeah, within the next week, so good news, Big Jake. If you think listening to it is ridiculous, wait till you see the... What do you want to talk about?
I see the clips, but I just wanted to talk about, so regarding last night's game, and I'd like to get the boys' thoughts on this too. This probably applies more to the Browns, but what was your favorite Halloween costume growing up?
Yep, hate that kid. Don't ever let him on again.
Can't do it.
Let's go to Tyler and I actually probably like him, by the way.
Took a big swing.
Took a big swing. I mean, I like the fact that he wasn't Little Jake because his dad's name was Big Jake. He said, I'm cocking my dad's name. I am Big Jake, which I respect that.
Big Jake Jr.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not, maybe BJJ. Like,
BJJ.
Yeah, big, or maybe Deuce, Big Jake the second.
Deuce Jr.
Anything like
Big
that.
Deuce.
Yeah.
But I don't need that shit from you, Big Jake.
No.
That guy. Don't let him through, Mitt. Brandon in Florida, what's going on? Just got the
Hey,
X.
what's going on, Pat? How the boys doing?
Oh, just hanging out, fella. Excited to be here. How are you?
Not too shabby. At work right now, so I got to go hide the back real quick.
Okay. I like that.
All right.
He's turning a corner around the office, just past the bathroom. The boss is asking what he's doing. Hasn't moved in months. Secretary just said, are you okay?
All right, boys. So, big question here. The Chargers QB debate.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's interesting because last week, kind of a dry week for the Chargers, especially now that we've seen the Bengals defense go against somebody else. It is for a question. Tyrod Taylor last week was
16 of 30 for 208.
16 of 30 for 208. Not great numbers, but who knows what type of offense they were running. Doesn't matter who's a quarterback. I didn't watch that entire game, so I can't give you a real answer there. But I would assume if you're sitting on a number 5 overall pick who looked good in training camp from the first 2 episodes of Hard Knocks that I watched, it feels like the transition might come at some point during this season. Or maybe it's just 1 week and they were kind of shit. Tyrod Taylor might come back this week against Chiefs and just light it up against Patty Mahomes and that squad over there.
Yeah, it doesn't look great because after watching the Bengals defense last night, and they still have Keenan Allen, they still have Mike Williams, they still have Hunter Henry and Eckler. Like they have some weapons on the outside. The only thing that's changed is kind of the quarterback. And you drafted a guy at 5.
Yeah, he's going to come in at some point. Tyrod Taylor has played good football, though, throughout his career.
He hasn't started in a while.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor is a good player, but if you have a guy that's like 6'5", you drafted with the number 5 overall pick, and you guys get into a little bit of a slide and anything like that, I mean, he's going to come in the game. But they did win last week. Hey, they are undefeated. Let's go to Chris in Cincinnati. What's going on, bub?
How you doing, Pat?
Not too shabby. You got to feel pretty good knowing that Joe Burrow is going to be okay if he can survive into year 2, 3, or 4, or 5, because 61 pass attempts, about 45 sacks, and still almost won that thing.
Yeah, I am very excited for him. We just need to get an O-line in front of him, for God's sake.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I agree. They're going to need that.
True.
Not as easy, though, to do. Because even the people that you think are potentially going to be good, they can just get run out. You have no idea. It's hard to piece together a good offensive line. That's why when you have one, you got to hang on to that thing as long as you possibly can. What do you want to talk about, brother?
Yep. So, seeing Jordan Palmer hiding in the closet last night got me to thinking. Have you ever played with or know of any closeted gay or bi NFL players?
Great question, Chris. So, when I was in college, there has since been, I think, 2 guys have come out of the closet publicly. My friends and the group of friends that the one guy was in, and I don't know if I'm just supposed to say no. I won't. That's not good because I don't know how. But we knew we were told whenever we were in college, completely cool with it, obviously. And then when Michael Sam coming out of Missouri was going to come into the NFL, there was like 2 NFL players out of the 1,500 players that came out and said something that was ignorant. And I would assume it was ignorant because they thought in their life they'd never met a gay person before, and they made a comment that was out of line. And only 2, and that changed the entire narrative. There's an entire concept of like, oh, NFL locker rooms wouldn't welcome in a gay player or anything like that because 2 people said something that was kind of like, that wasn't great, but then they were informed and educated and it met somebody and it became something different. And I remember that being a big storyline there for a little bit. And I was asked to speak to the media about it, like as a representative of the Colts, basically. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll talk for our locker room, whatever you got to do. And I believe this to this day. I believe it was like this then with a large majority of players, even though though the ones that said something negative about it were projected much louder than everybody else, because that's kind of, I don't know, that narrative is a little bit more sexy, I would assume, to kind of promote that an NFL locker room wouldn't want that. But I honestly believe this. It doesn't matter where you're from. A football locker room, it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. It doesn't matter your sexual orientation. As long as you're in there to win games and to help out your teammates, and you're going to work and you're practicing and you're putting in the work in the meeting room, nobody gives a single damn. And that's why I've always said that the world needs to be more like an NFL locker room. Now, granted, every single commercial for the NFL this year is talking about what a football locker room is. And I'm very happy that this sentiment is getting echoed everywhere, because a football locker room is one of the coolest places on earth. No other place anywhere could you see a billionaire's son hanging out with a kid from Compton, and they're just having the time of their lives together, joking, learning about each other, then going and fighting together for each other, being sad with each other, like just those experiences, those emotions, we have one dream, one goal, one task, eliminates all the other X factors that you could potentially bring in there. And that's why the world and myself and everybody has been saying for a long time, if the world was like a football locker room, it'd be a lot cooler place. And that's why, like, whenever it came out that, like, one player said something like, "Oh, we wouldn't want that here," is like, okay, that's one player, and that thing got sent out everywhere. I think the goodness of a football locker room is the fact that it doesn't matter what you do, where you're from, how you are. You come in here, let's kick ass together and keep it moving. I believe that then, and I still believe that now. But I have known a couple guys who have since come out since playing alongside them. One of them told us why. That was a big moment, I feel like, in that person's life to tell us, now that I'm looking back on it, because he probably didn't know exactly how everybody was going to react, but we gave him the old, "Hey, man, good for you.
Let's go win a ball game.
Good for you, dude. Hey, I have a question. Do any of your friends think I'm attractive?" No? All right, well, let's just keep it moving. Yeah, I honestly believe that about the locker room, though. I think that got made out to be something that I don't think it was. I think Michael Sam not getting drafted or not making it in a team was a lot more football related than anybody else wanted to really say at the time, and that's – but I didn't ever saw him play, so he wasn't on the Colts. So I literally have no idea.
SEC Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he's a good ball player in college.
Undersized.
There's a lot of players that are good
very
in college,
small.
Tim Tebow is what?
Yeah.
Best college football player ever, probably.
So let's go to David in South Dakota before we get out of here for the first hour.
Hey, Pat, how are you, man?
Hey, not too shabby, David. What do you want to talk about, bub?
I know it's a feel-good Friday here, and I'm a big NBA fan, and I love football too, but I got to bury Connor here. The Celtics are dead. They're dead.
Celtics are dead. You might as well go ahead and take one of your favorite drinks, Cutwater, and take that to the head and kind of just get over the fact that the Celtics are absolutely donezo, fella.
Here's the thing about the Celtics, all right?
No.
We're going to be just fine.
Okay.
And the best part is, when people are lighting up the locker room after a game, after a loss, the only thing that can help you get back from that, nice cold glass of Cutwater.
Yeah, that's a can. It's a can of Cutwater, you absolute idiot. It is delicious. There's 20 different flavors. We've heard it all from you before. Believe me. And it does taste good, and there's all that stuff. And the Cutwater spirits are very good. And they're available in liquor stores and grocery stores. I get it. We've heard your whole story. But, yeah, they're fighting each other last night in the locker room after game. Now, by the way, that does happen on a more regular basis in practice. There's guys getting after it with each other. In meeting rooms, there's potentially guys getting after each other. Immediately afterwards, in the locker room. In football, is different than basketball. But I think there should be such an exhaustion level, because you just gave everything you possibly had on the court, that you can't even have enough energy or time to want to fight amongst each other and say, hey, let's wallow in this and we'll figure it out tomorrow. But, hey, it's Eastern Conference Finals, baby. If you're up 15-20 in the first half and they come back and beat you because Jimmy Butler is unstoppable at this point, I mean, maybe you start throwing hands and swear words around.
You might as well. I mean, let's get the boys fired up. Someone's got to reignite that fire underneath their ass, I mean, come on.
Enes Kanter said nothing. Nothing happened.
Yeah, bullshit rumors. Don't believe them.
But there was media people outside who were like, we have never heard a locker room like this before.
Complete fracturing of the team.
But if they come back and win,
what's going on?
It'll be like, oh, this is Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, the missing practice, the Vikings coming all the way back. We have hour 2 on the other side of this break. We have Nick Mango joining us to talk to us about why the Jets stink. We also have an incredible sidebar of topics that we need to hit. Derrick Henry will not be on a pitch count this weekend, so look for the Titans to run the rock. And if he's not getting as many yards as you think he should be in the first half, just wait. The son of a bitch is like Novocaine. It'll work every time. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. Everybody but Big Jake from Wisconsin, welcome to Call Thus Far. Cannot wait to send you into a weekend, hopefully with great bets, great picks, good feeling, good vibe, and hopefully this next song is also a banger. Ooh. Oh, there it is.
Good start.
We'll talk about Clyde Edwards-Helaire a little bit. He's being told he needs to do this better, rush for a hundo on opening night. Are they just treating him like a rookie? How about the Dolphins can't sell enough tickets to fill up a 13,000 thing?
Not good.
Wild time to be alive. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, September 18th. Game parlay, Joe Burrow, 239 plus passing yards, Bengals to cover plus 6.5, and 44 plus points scored. Max bet $50 plus
Seems
7.
like you like that.
That is all of my bets. This is an expensive show, by the way. I'll hear somebody talk, boom, and I just start hammering things. Tonight, Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield. Over-under for Joe Burrow, I believe, is 238.5 yards against that Cleveland Browns defense. Baker Mayfield, I forget exactly what his
235
is. 235.5, so they're pretty much the same. How do you feel? What do you think one of these quarterbacks is going to do? And how hard should we hammer your prediction for this evening?
Oh, hammer down.
Oh,
Joe Burrow, number one overall pick. He's gonna show why he's the number one pick this game, man. And last week he came within a drive, within a play, really, that OPI of winning the game. And he had a mean pass rush after him. Had some great DBs playing against with the Chargers. Casey Hayward was the AFC Defensive Player of the Week, actually. He won't be facing that this week with the Browns. They only got one game record up front on defense. Myles Garrett.
There's also a super boost on Chubb to be the first touchdown scorer. I can't remember what it is.
630?
580 to 670, somewhere like that. Which, if the Browns want to win, you fucking feed Nick Chubb. I'm actually probably going to play that.
How are we feeling about this weekend? I'm sorry I missed it. I just had to take a shit in a phone call. Are we dominating the weekend or what?
I like some of the games this weekend. We just talked about the Colts. I like the Colts and lay the points. I like the Eagles in a pick'em game. That line has moved to all different variations against the Rams. I also like the Niner game came out on and when I make my picks on my podcast, I always go by the circa $1 million bet thing, that tournament. So they came out today, and the Niners are under 7. I don't know how the Jets can move the ball. I mean, Le'Veon Bell's hurt. Their offensive line. Of the teams that looked bad last week, that played bad, I want to bet against them. The Vikings were one of those teams. The Jets were one of those too.
The water here, we're pulling all these logs up over there. Having a bit of a hard time here. We've got a little friend that's come and visited us. Now we can't get any go away. Can't get any work done. He keeps following us around the flat. How we going, Tommy? You got this sorted?
Yeah, man. Oh, mate, it's handy, but you wouldn't freaking give us a hand, would you?
Pain in the ass having a crocodile around. Well, Art, give it up. Or are you trying to get some work done? Hey. Anyway, get out. Away. Oh, away. Stay. Sit. All right.
McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here, Friday, September 18th. Feel Good Football Friday. Woo! This hour, we will have Nick Mangold joining us at some point, I believe in about 20 minutes or so. So be a friend, tell a friend. We have a New York Jets legend joining us, also Ohio State legend, and a man who made 74 barbecue.
Ooh, delicious.
Finger looking good.
Yeah, 74 barbecue. Mangold 74 barbecue. He launched a barbecue sauce company right before a pandemic hit the world. So not great timing, but great barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
Great
sauce.
barbecue.
Yeah.
We have a couple bottles here at the office we use daily. We're very thankful for him. Can't wait to chat with him. And in the third hour, we have Joe Thomas, formerly of the Cleveland Browns, now of the NFL Network, will be joining AJ Hawk and I on this Feel Good Football Friday. Last night, Cincinnati Bengals covered against the Cleveland Browns, who beat them by 6. Baker Mayfield played the good football, but this weekend, NFL Week 2 kicks off, and we got all the games we got to go through we have to chat about. Before we get to that, though, I would like to ask our friend at Viva Lazito what's happening with the poll and the voice of the internet, what's been going on out there.
All right, so poll for today is 10 years from now, who will be the better quarterback, basically?
Okay, who will have a better quarterback legacy, I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield, 10.9%. Joey Burrow, 89.1%. It is a landslide.
So everybody, there's been 3,000 votes, 3,300 votes roughly. 89.1% say Joey B, 10 years from now, will have a better quarterback legacy than Baker Mayfield. That must mean that these people think that Baker Mayfield's probably not going to be a Brown for much longer, and then if that means probably going to be a backup quarterback at some point, maybe, or whatever. I think after last night was maybe his best performance as an NFL quarterback that I can remember, maybe since night 1. On the run, dropping dimes, handing the ball off to 2 studs, kind of managing the game. He threw that one stupid pick that you can't throw in the fourth quarter. Got to get rid of that. But I think that was Baker's best football game, and 89.1% of people on the internet just saying, he's going to stink 10 years from now. Joey Burrow is going to be the guy.
Because it's Baker and because of the mistakes he makes and stuff like that. Sometimes you forget how good of a ball and how good his arm strength is. Like, I am impressed how well the ball was coming out last night.
Last year was just weird to watch him play football.
Bad year.
It was just bad. Balls are wobbly.
Behind guys.
It looked like he didn't even. It looked like he hated football at some point.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you're just losing and the world is dumping on you,
doing commercials,
but you're killing in commercials. It's gonna be that was all alleged, and we believe at this show firmly that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I did forget how good of a football player he was. I think until last night I was watching. That's why this guy's in the NFL. Okay, I remember why Baker Mayfield's in the NFL. But this is a make or break year for him, and that's probably why the poll resembles the way it does. Yeah. Because 90% of people say Joey Burrow's legacy in about 10 years will probably be one of a guy that won some real games. I think it's going to take a couple years. I think the AFC North is going to be problematic for at least the next 2 years, with Ben Roethlisberger probably playing for at least another 2. Lamar Jackson seems like he's only heating up. So the Bengals and Browns have an uphill battle in their own division, and there isn't a lot of times where 3 teams from one division make the playoffs. That's just not the way it goes. So the Bengals and Browns are not in a great spot, but everybody believes that Joey Burrow in about 10 years from now, his quarterback legacy is going to be great, and that's because we're 2 games in, and just in the second game, he threw the ball 61 times. So you would assume that the quarterback coach and the head coach say, hey, this is our best player by far. Let's keep feeding his ass.
If the Browns go, let's say, like 8-8, and it's mediocre, they don't go to the playoffs. Is there the thought like, okay, this is Baker's first year with Stefanski, let's give him 1 more year in Cleveland?
I don't know.
Is he gone?
You got to think about the new GM. You got to think about a new GM. Are you just going to wait around another year? Because then what happens if the year starts with how Baker was last week, and then let's say week 3, week 4, he has a off game. Yeah. Baker is going to have to win games this year. That's what he's going to have to do. They're going to have 9, 10 games win somehow, some way. I don't know how they're going to be able to do it, especially with the AFC North. But Baker's going to have to win a lot of games, or I think this is potentially last year in Cleveland. just with a new GM, you just have to the business of the NFL. If a new GM comes, he is trying to figure out who shapes the team moving forward that I want to build. And if Baker can't win this year, maybe he says, you know what, this is the quarterback that I want. We already have him on the roster. We already have him under contract. We don't have to pay him big money yet because he's only going into his 4th year. We can kind of test it out and see how it goes. But he can hand the ball off. We're trying to build through that. So maybe he does. But if this turns into a sub 500 season, I would assume that this is the last one for old Baker.
And he'll never have better weapons.
On the flip side of that, with Joe Burrow, how long do you think they're going to stick with like Zach Taylor as it? Because it looks like they're going to be bad for the next couple years. And like, does it make sense to get rid of him when Joe Burrow comes up in his offense and everything?
So Zach Taylor, right? He was with the Rams. He was quarterback coach with the Rams. Sean McVay, very obviously active in the play calling business, known as the play caller at one point in the NFL was, hey, this guy, he's the reason why Zach got hired. He's the reason why Matt LaFleur got hired. He's the reason why Cliff Kingsbury got hired. McVay at like 32 years of age got hired as a head coach for the Rams and lit the world on fire with Jared Goff and Todd Gurley in that offense that was loaded with weapons and talent because they just gave big deals to everybody. He got everybody fired. This Zach guy who gets the gig with the Cincinnati Bengals last year, they're trying to win. They lose the most out of anybody. They bench Andy Dalton on his birthday and on trade day. I mean, there's just a lot of things that went wrong last year. And I think a lot of people, maybe outside of Cincinnati, I would assume Cincinnati Bengals fans are diehard loyal. They'll ride or die with whatever. And I assume they were potentially asking this question as well. It was like, why was this guy just given the keys to the offense? Has he ever called plays before? He was a quarterback coach for the Rams. He definitely wasn't calling plays. No. And then last year, he leads them to an abysmal season. This year, he's getting his guy killed, 61 passes, not even thinking about using Joe Mixon, who can maybe get the pressure off of the offensive line a little bit so they don't just get blown up. I think at some point that conversation will happen. But if you're the head coach, you get to call your own shots. It's not like Mike McCarthy has to decide he's not calling plays or he's calling plays. Andy Reid has to decide he's calling plays or he's not calling plays. Like that is just a big-time move by the head coach. And I would assume young Zach Taylor, who was hired for being an offensive guru probably, because that's why he was hired out of the McVay thing, if he releases the play calling duties, I would assume a lot of people are going to be like, well, what the fuck's he even here for? Is this guy like a good CEO? What are we even doing at this point?
Yeah, in his career, he's called plays twice. Miami Dolphins OC in 2015, and then the next year he was the offensive coordinator for University of Cincinnati, and then he went to the Rams as a wide receivers and quarterbacks coach. So not a lot of experience calling plays.
It's not like, hey, this guy's the guy, but if you're going to get just a figurehead, why don't you try to lure Bill Carr?
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? Why don't you try to get Bill Carr out of the booth or anything? But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, if you're just going to have a figurehead who needs to set up the day-to-day CEO, that is not the reason why Zach Taylor was hired, I'd assume, at the beginning. Zach Taylor was hired because he was with McVay. He was touched by McVay's potential seed of offense, and he gets the gig immediately. And you started seeing a lot of those old coaches not get hired, and you saw a bunch of young guns get hired. Cliff Kingsbury seems to be working in Arizona. I see he and Kyler Murray have great growth. They beat the Niners first week. Richard Sherman now on IR. George Kittle hasn't practiced all week. They say he is traveling to the East Coast because they got back-to-back Jets and Giants games. I don't know which one's first. He might dress on Sunday. I'd assume he doesn't, but he plays the next week, the following week. I could be wrong. George Kittle is an absolute monster animal. You need him on the field, and I assume he could play without practicing. But if you're going to be somewhere for 2 weeks, I don't know.
Jets.
He's also making the trip. I would assume that he's potentially going to play the second game as opposed to the first game, give him another week, get treatment out there wherever they're staying on the East Coast, which is interesting, by the way. I was never a part of a team that ever did that, except for bowl weeks, I guess, but that's what everybody does. The West Coast teams traveling to the East Coast, staying over there, practicing somewhere, staying in a hotel. I would assume that's a good thing for your team. I think the Raiders did it last year. And their team, they got like tighter through it. It was like almost a mobile training camp where it's like you're in it together type thing. I think it's very interesting. And the Niners doing that these upcoming next 2 weeks.
Yeah. Do you think that any of that has to do with COVID, with them and like the wildfires and everything, them not wanting to go back home and then go back over there? Or do you think it is just because, hey, why would we? We're on the East Coast already.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's a long haul, but I guess after a game, they're used to long hauls because you're in the upper left side of the map. You have to travel a little bit. But those long travel games, people don't account for them because they mess up the whole next week too. Because you don't get back until like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and then you have meetings at noon or whatever. It's like, I don't know how they do it over there.
So it's nice being in Indianapolis, KC, Chicago, middle of the country.
We can just get in it. Hey, we can get everywhere, baby. It's like 4 hours to California, 4 hours or four and a half hours to California. That's our longest trip. East Coast, hour and a half, 2 hours. You know, unless you decide to downsize the plane and make it smaller. Save a couple bucks for a few games.
Jet lag.
Let's go to Brett in Buffalo. What's going on, Brett? They did, by the way. And you know where we flew to? Buffalo.
Oh,
and I will never forget that flight. Never forget. Anthony Costanzo's knees were on my shoulders. I was wearing Anthony Costanzo because our plane was so small. Brett in Buffalo, what's going on, bub?
What's going on, fellas? Hey, just for the record, greatest episode of SmackDown ever was the episode you were at with the NXT Invasion, bub.
November 1st, 2019, in Buffalo, Friday Night SmackDown Live. NXT invaded. We took over. We dominated. I believe people are still saying best episode of SmackDown in the history of SmackDown, November 1st, 2019.
Just one, yeah. You know, just no ifs, buts, or coconuts. It's the best episode of SmackDown ever.
Oh,
I like that, too.
I love coconut. Coconut water, shit. Coconut, pretty good.
Good for cramps, right?
Yeah.
Hydration.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get the right flavor coconut water because some like straight up coconut water is garbage.
Yeah, it is garbage up there.
Garbage.
Yeah, it's garbage here.
Gabbage. It's gabbage. GAHBAGE.
Garbage.
I got a thought exercise for the boys.
All right, here we go.
Let's say it comes down to Ravens Chiefs AFC Championship. Who you got and why?
Okay, nice thought exercise. Good thought exercise there. I like the Chiefs just forever. I just like the Chiefs. I don't know what. I was very early in deeming them the next dynasty. Everybody called me an overreactor, which is what I do. That's why the show is a daily show as opposed to a once-a-week show, is so I can overreact to everything that happens.
Yes.
But I think they're the next dynasty. And until they, just like I'm betting on the Patriots until further notice.
Proven otherwise.
Until I'm told that Bill Belichick isn't going to be able to figure out. Same thing with the Chiefs. And I know they're both in the AFC, and I would assume the Chiefs, I'd take Chiefs over the Patriots at this point in life. But I just think the Chiefs will be able to figure it out because it doesn't matter if they're down. Let's say Lamar has the best half he's ever had, and they're up 28. That means nothing to the Kansas City Chiefs because that takes one quarter for them to get 28 points. It's hard to count that team out. Will the Ravens be able to perform in the playoffs? That's the big conversation. Well, you know, first year Lamar played, they didn't make it past round one of the playoffs or whatever, or wild card weekend. It's like, yeah, that was also before they got rid of a bunch of players, had the 3 tight ends set and said, we're doing Lamar Jackson offense. That's what we're doing. Now, last year he wins the MVP, gets hot. What do? They lose to the Tennessee Titans first round of the playoffs. So everybody says the Ravens are going to have to win in the playoffs before we can deem them to do it. Let's assume they're going to win in the playoffs at some point. I think that they will potentially make a run like the Titans made last year. But the Chiefs, this is the Chiefs division, or the conference. It's the Chiefs conference.
Is there any chance that we have full stadiums by the time the playoffs roll around?
Well, you know, if the Miami Dolphins can't sell 13,000, 13,000 tickets, I guess. And that's, by the way, I don't know how many season ticket holders they have, but probably 13,000 of them at least. All their season ticket holders just said, nah, we don't want to go.
We're good.
I understand you guys. The Miami Dolphins were the first team, by the way, to say we'll be able to fill up our stadium. They put out a layout and a guide on how they would get fans into the stands. Like before the NFL even officially announced that they were having a season. Like 3 months ago, they were laying out like, oh, we'll have these lines here, and then we'll have a server that will come to your section where you're sitting because you'll be socially distant. You arrive with a group that you have been quarantining with. They've been on this kick for a long time that they are going to have fans in the stands. And here we are just a few days out, and Adam H. Beasley is tweeting that they're 48 hours out. There is still a fair amount of available inventory on both the primary and secondary markets for Dolphins Bills. Get in as cheap as $60, and that's with the capacity capped at 13,000. And some people say, well, people might be scared to go into a stadium or something like that. Florida State might have 13,000 people in one section when they were playing Georgia Tech. Kansas State had a shit ton of people. Last night in Cleveland, there was a shit ton of people. I don't think it's the overall humans are scared to go to games potentially. I do believe being potentially scared to contract coronavirus plus having your team stink is potentially a match made for no ticket sale heaven. And that is maybe what's going on down there in Miami.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, this show loves Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Love Magic.
We would buy
tickets if we were down there.
Yes.
But do you think if Tua was starting, that would move the needle and this would be sold out?
Not a bad play. If they did want to sell some tickets, be like, hey, Tua's starting. And maybe they do it tomorrow. Maybe they just say tomorrow because they can't sell any tickets. Maybe they say, hey, you know what? Fuck it. Tua's coming in. We have a Dolphins fan in this building, by the way, for some reason, somehow. Gumpy, how's it feel knowing that your fan base can't get 13,000 people into a stadium?
I mean, you've said it before, Pat. They're not a loyal bunch.
Oh,
and Josh Allen has ripped apart the Finns since he came into the league every time.
Oh, so you think Dolphins fans are like, hey, here's a beach right down there. Okay, we got a casino right down there. We got this going on. A couple pool parties going on back over here. And we have the Dolphins playing. You guys want to go to the COVID Dolphins game? Let's do this. That's what you're saying happened, Gumpy?
It's no respect for Fitzpatrick is the problem.
Yeah,
it's last year with the Dolphins. Show him some respect.
They should just put his face on the ticket and on the building if they want to move some tickets. But Tua being announced as a starter would also sell some tickets. The Colts up their capacity from 3.7% or 3.5% to 10.5% capacity.
Hey now.
Yeah, they went from 3.5% capacity to 10.5% capacity, 2,500 people to 7,500 people. Let's
go.
Congrats to them. I would assume those things moved quickly as well. I wonder what the big jump up was. It was potentially Jim Irsay's motivational speech on his Twitter and Instagram account yesterday. Jim Irsay's awesome.
Yeah.
I would like him to be treated as such from this point forward by everybody who speaks about it.
Military pressing 300 pounds.
I don't know. I don't know what was going on with that. It did seem like he was potentially even going to shrug that maybe at some point. He did not. And maybe the camera got cut off early.
Probably.
That's probably what happened. Jim Irsay was going to hang clean 315 pounds right in front of him, and the camera got cut off early, which is a shame. But if you need to see a pump-up video, not just for the Colts, but for your life, at Jim Irsay on Twitter right now. He'll be standing there in front of the weight system. Let's go to William in Atlanta. What's going on, Bill?
Hey, what's up, Pat? How's it going, man?
Not too shabby. Not sure I've ever talked to a William. I respect the hell out of you not moving to Bill at all.
I'm going to stay at William. I'm not going to Bill. Don't worry.
Wait, William Regal. I talked to William Regal one time.
Oh.
Yeah, he's been knighted.
Well, you got a William Arnold now, the superior William. So.
Oh, William Regal did not need to hear that. He will chop your.
No, Flowers. No, just rubbish. It's all rubbish.
That is William Regal's exact voice, actually. William Arnold, what do you want to talk about?
Well, man, I heard y'all mention the Falcons earlier, and I'm glad we're finally getting some press. But I got to let y'all know, just never have faith in us. I know y'all said bet on Matt Ryan, but I'm letting you know right now, whatever you do not have faith in that.
I'm glad we're getting pressed, but I just want to let you know what you're saying. Just do not.
Stay away.
Just don't talk about it. Okay, we'd rather you just don't talk about it because we've been flying under the radar of mediocrity since 28-3. And anytime we start getting talked about, the first thing people talk about is 28-3. And now we just would rather not be talked about. But do not bet on us. We know us more than you know us. We've been around us a long time. We've been talking about us for a long time. Don't fucking bank on us doing anything you think we're going to do.
The same thing with the Cowboys, though. So, I mean, who knows where to go this week?
And by the way, we've been forced to talk about the Cowboys for all these years. So this is a real toss-up. I like Matt Ryan, though. But will the Dallas Cowboys, who are banged up now at this point, they got some injuries, will they be able to be what everybody thought they were potentially going to be on the offensive side of the ball, which is an efficient offense and not a big dud fest? That TBD. TBD.
I assume it'll just be like the same Falcons game as it is every other week. Matt Ryan will throw for 380 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they'll get beat by like 27 points. It seems like that happens every single time they play.
Slam the over.
Hey, good news for the boys. Alden Smith, after 4 or 5 years off, looked really good. last week.
He did look really good. And mentally, by the way, I think he's all the way back. Got to figure that out.
See, I saw it.
We need to hook up a button on your desk that sends off a red light in the...
Right in Jay's face.
Yeah. In his brain, maybe.
We have to get to a break because Nick Mangold joins us on the other side. Mike Greenberg, noted Jets fan, predicted this weekend's game to be 174-3 against the Jets. Will Nick Mangold feel the same way, the man who founded 74 Barbecue and a man who loves the Jets? I mocked the Jets for stinking at football last week, and he responded, "You can't talk. You guys lost to the Jaguars," which is very true. So we're going to probably battle about who sucks more. This should be a good conversation. Nick Mangold joins us on the other side. If you have a question for him, 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. This is the Pat McAfee McAfee Show on Mad Dog Radio, Channel 82, Sirius XM. I was told by Del Curry, Scottie Pippen struggles on a golf course, right?
Right.
I was told at that thing that I'm going against Scottie Pippen the next day, match play, heads up, one-on-one Scottie Pippen. So we decide, like, okay, we could probably have a couple drinks, stay at the casino a little bit longer than we should.
Representing the NFL out of the Shoeless Golf Club of America, Pat McAfee. His opponent, representing the NBA, Scottie Pippen.
You know what I mean? This guy's got 6 rings. Yeah. He's a fucking Hall of Famer. But today he's going to play against me. And then I start seeing Scottie hit some shots that are just like starting to come together. And I'm like, wait a fucking minute. I think I was lied to.
We were lied to yesterday. We were told Scottie Pippen was a terrible golfer. Bro, he's Scottie fucking Pippen.
Going in the back 9, I think I was down 1. Like, we were battling. But I started making putts. And Scottie Pippen went ahead and got real hot. I mean, real fucking hot. I was down 3 with 7 left. And I looked right in the camera, and I go,
so we're down 3 with like 7 holes left. Scottie Pippen's about to get this work.
Scottie Pippen from 190 yards out just fucking dunks it. Fucking boom, bang, and then walks up to the green, gets the ball, cameras on him, and he goes, Pippen ain't easy. Kidding me?
All right, down 4 with 6 left after Scottie Pippen just chips in from fucking 400 yards out.
I was fucking demoralized.
Pippen ain't easy.
By the way, best he's ever performed at golf, because I'm around, better teammate than Jordan.
Yep.
People forget. Oh, yeah, I told Del, I was like, Del, what the fuck you lying to me? He was like, well, I saw it yesterday. He was not great. And Greg Anthony told me, and I was like, Del, he buried me, Del Curry. He buried me. He was like, hey, Pippen ain't easy.
Yes, baby, it's time to celebrate.
Talking about a shotgun and beer after he had beat me, obviously. I like teach him how to do it.
Yeah, put a hole in there. It might spread a little bit, so. Yeah, so you're going to go here, and then you're going to open and flip up. Does that make sense? Congrats on winning the NBA a couple times, blah, 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 blah. And being an incredible golfer. Right, well, cheers, man. Hey.
Damn.
Okay,
That's the
Scottie.
best Bud Light I ever had.
Hey, there's no Scott King up here.
You right.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. This might be the best copyright-free music to ever grace our ear holes. It's a feel-good Friday, has a New Jersey vibe. And we currently have a caller from there. But, I mean, we have to let this build up one more time, I think.
This isn't Tiesto?
Oh, my God.
Oh, it sounds like it.
Nick, you have to love what we're doing over here, Nick Mangold.
Dancing.
Oh, my God. I mean, this is... Yeah, yup, love it. Yup, feeling it. Can't do that. The internet's going to take advantage of you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about, some wingies, eating some wingies, drinking some brewskis from what I've been told. The founder of 74 Barbecue, a man who's a New York Jets legend, Ohio State legend, and his beard looks even better than it has before. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Mango. How's it going, bud?
Thank you. Beautiful introduction.
Oh, thank you. You deserve it. Right down here in the front of the desk. Still got it. Okay.
Still got it. Love it.
And this is
with you.
This is the OG barbecue sauce, which is sweet with a little heat. I know the flavors are named after your kids. And I will tell you this, Nick Mango. Let's just lead off with this. If the Jets win more than 4 games, I'll drink an entire bottle of this.
Is that a deal?
That's a deal, yeah.
In one sitting?
I won't chug it because I said during the break here to the boys, I was like, if the Jets win 4 games, I'll chug this. And then our friend Zito here, who might have chugged a bottle of barbecue sauce before, actually said, have you ever chugged barbecue sauce? You shouldn't do that. So I'll drink it I won't chug it, but I will drink it in a setting, yeah.
Okay. So what's you're just going to do that then? I don't have to bet anything on it?
Well, you would have to do something if the Colts end up winning probably 10 games, which I'm assuming they're going to. Start off a little slow against the Jaguars, but maybe 8 games if the Colts win?
Let's split the difference and go 9.
Okay. Okay. So Colts, if the Colts win 9, you will chug a bottle of your own barbecue sauce or drink a bottle of your own barbecue sauce. And if the Jets win 4, I will drink a bottle of 74 barbecue made by Nick Mangold.
Well, now I'm scared.
Why? Why?
Well, what if both happen?
Oh, we're doing it together, and we'll stone cold them too. By the way, we will. Yeah, bam, bam, bang. Yeah, we'll do the whole thing if we got to do it. Let's talk about your Jets, though, Nick. The internet was abuzz about how bad the New York Jets are at football. Adam Gase was at football. Mike Greenberg laid out an entire case against Adam Gase there for a little bit. As a New York Jet legend, New York Jet diplomat, what is your state of the fair? Hey, it's just week 1, too. Can we relax a little bit? Is that what you're thinking?
That's what I'm thinking. I think the biggest thing that I saw from this was the offseason, right? There was no offseason. So now you're putting in 5 new starters on the offensive line. You got a lot of new pieces. You have no time together personally. Virtually you can do things, but you're not getting that same connection. And then your training camp was shortened. You had no preseason games. You didn't have time to get into the nuances of how things go during a real game. And so the week 1, they didn't do well. But I've been saying since the start of August that week 1 and 2 are going to feel like the 3rd preseason game this year, and then the season will get started.
How important, as legendary center, I think a lot of people would think Nick Mangold whenever they think of the center position. How important is it for the offensive line to be a unit? And now I've gotten a chance to watch a couple great offensive lines. I've got a chance to watch some bad offensive lines. And just like the rest of the team, it feels like the tighter the unit is, the better they are. Almost like in the NFL, everybody has the capability to potentially block somebody. But I feel like the closeness of the group is more so the most beneficial thing. Is that accurate or fair?
I think that is 100% accurate. That's why you're the smartest person in the business.
Hey! All right! Yeah!
You look at an offensive line, and you're exactly right. When you have a strong offensive line that's cohesive, that's working together, that hangs out together, that does stuff together, you're going to notice that team is probably going to be better than any team that has an offensive line that kind of does their own thing, don't really know each other all that well. So one of the big things that I always did, learned it from the older guys when I got in and carried it through, was I would always have a barbecue at my house. Bring the guys together, let them hang out outside of the building in a relaxed atmosphere, and just kind of learn about it, because you're going to play a lot harder when you know somebody's backstory, what goes on with their family, what goes on at their home, what they're playing for, and vice versa.
Because you guys are going in. Obviously, it has nothing to do with actual life or death on the line, but the offensive line is going to war each week. That is, we are a unit, okay, and we are going to hand-to-hand combat against some of the best athletes that have ever been created, and we got to protect our guys, and we got to move the rock. If you're the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line, after what, now granted, 61 pass attempts is going to be difficult to protect for, even if the guy holds onto the ball a little bit, but if you see your guy getting killed, like Joey Burrow was getting killed, and I immediately thought about Luck whenever Luck was a rookie in his first couple years when he was just getting slaughtered. What is your statement to each other the next day? Or do you think you say to the coach, like, hey, if you're going to give us 61 pass attempts, like, there's a chance that this guy's going to get killed because you're not giving us a chance to even drive at all?
Exactly. And I think that's what we did with Sanchez his rookie year, 09. You know, we rushed the ball. I think we were one of the top 5 rushing teams in the NFL ever that season because we knew that we had to protect the quarterback and we knew that he could make the throws, but everything was predicated on the run game and play action. And, you know, I think 61 passing attempts, we always used to joke that you're putting on your dancing shoes and you got to be ready because you're going to be on skates all day. And it's difficult. It's tough. And you hate seeing your guy get hit like that, but you also hate being behind and having to throw like that to catch up.
Baker Mayfield, they ran the ball a lot last night for the Cleveland Browns. And that offensive line was a problem last year for the Cleveland Browns, but also play calling was an issue. And I think it all kind of goes hand in hand. But 23 pass attempts, 2 rushers for like 215 or 219 yards or something like that. That's a real recipe for success for anybody, let alone the Cleveland Browns who are trying to find an identity at the moment.
Yes, except for my fantasy team that was going up against the the Cleveland run game there. So, yeah, you know, I think when you can pop off that many yards in the run game and allow your quarterback to take accurate and well-timed throws, you're going to win a lot of games.
Hey, when you're fighting with somebody hand-to-hand combat style, are you talking while you're fighting? Like, take that, take that.
No, I was too tired. That's why I never got into trash talking, never got into, you know, in the middle of plays. I know a lot of guys enjoyed it, but for me, it was just trying to catch my breath and get ready for the next one.
Hey, don't die. Me too, by the way. After every punt, I was so tired.
Hey, Nick, you're not in the building anymore, per se, but if you had to guess, which week are the Jets going to fire Adam Gase?
I think so far from what I've seen, you know, Christopher Johnson seems to be backing him pretty strong. So I might take the over on whatever you're picking.
Week 4.
He is in an interesting spot because I don't know if you heard what Greeny said yesterday. I mean, Greeny has a stat guy named Hembo, okay? And Hembo is the best stat person I've ever seen in my life. I've seen him operate. He is just a wizard. And the picture they painted about Gase's failures is just – it's a loud one. And in New York, that type of shit can get deafening. I would assume Gase is looking for that team to win games much quicker maybe than anybody else in the Jets world at this point.
Yeah, probably him. And then I think number 2 is probably his wife.
Yeah. Yeah, I would assume.
So and she might be above him. So, yeah, you know, wins cure all. And so it's going to be a tough task against the 49ers this week, you know, up against that defense. So, I'm hoping we don't fall into a hole of 0-2, but you know it's a real possibility.
Nick, when your offensive line's banged up, like for instance the Packers is right now, how long does it take for those guys to feel comfortable on the line, especially if they're maybe playing out of position?
Yeah, you know, out of position is always difficult because you know everyone's like, well, you're a guard, you can play right and left, and you're like, well. You know, you don't wipe with your right hand and then all of a sudden wipe with your left hand hard. And so it's challenging. But, you know, that's why you need to have a full core group of guys that are able to play with each other. So that way when someone does go down, the next man can stand up and get the job done. And the other 4 guys trust that he's going to do it.
Is it the foot? Is it the footwork that is the hardest? Or is it just everything, just thinking backwards on mirroring everything?
Yeah, you know, if you switch sides, that's why it was nice for being a center. I didn't have to worry about sides because I had both sides. But you watch people go from right guard to left guard or left guard to right guard, and they'll come out of the huddle, and you watch it on the film, and you see them putting down the wrong hand to start and have to correct themselves. So it's just something that's been ingrained in you.
And then, by the way, if you're thinking about that, you're not just not thinking and reacting and playing. So, I mean, there's an entire mental fuckery that could potentially come into that as well that kind of doesn't free you up to play well.
Exactly. If you're thinking about, well, crap, what side am I on this play? Now you're not thinking about, A, the play, B, the defense you're going against, C, the defensive tackle that you're going against. So everything kind of has to fall in line.
You said for the Jets, you guys had a very run-heavy team, and we played you guys a lot. Whenever Sanchez was young, I got a chance to watch your team operate. It was really cool to see the Jets be great for the first time in a long time and since then. I mean, it hasn't really happened. But if you were to play for a quarterback like Cam Newton, for instance, like what he's been able to do up there with New England, and they only had him pass attempt 19 times. I assume we're going to see a lot more of that on Sunday night against the Seattle Seahawks. A lot of Cam. What is changes as an offensive lineman with like a Cam Newton back there as opposed to a potential stand in the pocket quarterback? What does that change for the offensive lineman? I assume it makes your life easier.
I say it's a double-edged sword. I think it makes your life easier because he will get you out of bad plays. You know, if you let a guy slip up, he can escape and make something happen. But at the same time, having a guy that drops back to 7 yards and plants and throws, you know exactly where he's going to be, and you know exactly where you need to block your guy to make sure he doesn't get him. So while I really think it's the double-edged sword, it's good and bad.
So maybe the offensive line like Tom Brady more. Oh, that's what I just heard. I just heard that from Nick Mangold.
Yeah, I think I said that, right?
Yeah, we did hear it. We heard it. Yeah.
Am I a source now?
Yeah. Yes. Nick Mangold, formerly of the New York Jets, says that the offensive line hates playing for Cam Newton because they don't know where he's going to be.
Nick, how much easier is life for the O-line and especially the center now when they go into away stadiums and there's no crowd noise?
Oh, it's huge. You know, not having to worry about, the deafening noise, and not mentioning him because I'm on this show, but when we played the Colts in the playoff game in 2009 that we lost, the AFC Championship game, I remember standing there next to my left guard, Alan Faneca. You might have heard of him. Should be in the Hall of Fame. Shocked he hasn't gotten in yet. And we're standing this close to each other and screaming. We could see our mouths moving, and you couldn't hear a thing. And, that makes the communication unbelievably hard because you just have to know what he's going to do without being able to say anything.
Colts fans did that?
Colts fans did that.
Okay.
How much noise were they pumping in?
Whoa.
Come
on. That's bullshit.
Gotta ask.
No, you don't.
Got to ask the hard questions.
No, you don't. No, you don't even have to ask those questions. I mean, take it easy. Jesus.
That was the old dome. That wasn't Lucas Oil.
Alan Faneca's like, 135 pounds now at this point or something like that?
Dripping wet, I think so.
That's absurd.
He lost 100 pounds in about, I want to say it was 6 or 8 months, and he started running marathons and stuff. And I remember the first time I saw him, I was down at his sister's wedding, and I hadn't seen him since he lost all the weight. I'd seen pictures, but nothing does it justice. And we got in late. Flight was delayed coming out of New York. Go figure. And we get in, so we have to go straight to the church. And we're sitting there in the pew, and everyone stands up, and everyone comes in, bride and everything, and we're getting the thing going. I go, I didn't see Al come in. Next thing you know, I finally see him. He's sitting up there, and I was like, that looks like him, but I don't know. And then finally got to see him at the reception, and he comes up, and as soon as he talks, and you see that he's 6'6", so he's a tall dude. He's still got a head for a 6'6" man. He's still got the hands of a 6'6" man, but he's got the body of like a frail teenager.
Marshall Yonda had the same type of post-career as Alan Faneca. He kind of disappeared on his bikes and all that stuff. Let's go back to the communication that you referred to, because I see some centers do it. Sometimes it's a quarterback's job. You're the quarterback, always call out the mic. I always thought that centers sometimes do that exact same thing for people. Am I wrong whenever I assume that, or is that just not happening anymore? It's all quarterback's job.
It all depends on the system and what the coordinator wants done. Sometimes, for my career, most of my career, I was doing it when I first got in the league. Chad Pennington, smart as whip quarterback, he would point out the mic and kind of took care of those duties. But then once I got a little further into my career, it started to become my job, and so I did it to take, especially once Sanchez came around, I did it to take the pressure off of him. So that way he didn't have to worry about all the protection stuff up front. He could just worry about coverage and everything. And so it just kind of ran with it there. So it varies team to team. And it varies, center to quarterback. Some guys can do it, and some guys can't.
Yeah, some centers are a weapon, and some centers are a lot more active than other centers. You can watch it in the game. They stand the ball up on its tippy toe or tip, so you can stay it up higher. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and it's a very interesting. And then some guys just don't. They turn their head and they snap it. It's very the job description is very interesting depending on which place it is. And I would assume that's talent and not talent, and that's why you're a 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. What do you got, Connor?
Yeah. Mangold, if you're Jason Kelsey, the center for the Philadelphia Eagles, and you have a rugby player playing right tackle, are you telling your right guard every single play to go help him?
Well, I'm not telling him to go directly to him. I'm saying, hey, help me first and then go to him. But, definitely keep your eyes that way.
But there's so many ways to protect that person if they want. Tight end chips, running back chips. I mean, there's a lot of ways to protect that so you don't get exposed. It felt like the Eagles did none of that in the second half last week against the Washington football team. They made a big comeback. But whenever you lose 3 people in your offensive line in 2 weeks, that's going to be a tough hill to climb for anybody, including the Philadelphia Eagles, who have a great quarterback in Carson Wentz.
And they have Aaron Donald this week.
Oh, my. Wait, did you ever play against Aaron Donald?
Yeah.
What is he just... Is he the most unique pass rusher or D lineman that you've ever faced?
Oh, no, I dominated him. That's a quote. What makes him special is the fact, like, you think Aaron Donald, a defensive tackle, has to be this big, huge presence. But when you see him, I mean, I think he's like 6'1", maybe like 297, and he's strong as an ox and quick as a fox. And it's something that is watching him and playing against him. Like it's amazing.
Hey, we got some questions from some callers for you. Do you mind if we take those?
Sure.
All right, let's go to Joe in Wisconsin. Joe in Wisconsin.
Nick, talking about bench press. After you get drafted, do you ever bench like you do in the combine anymore? Or do you kind of just stop that, work to maintain? After you get your second contract, do you stop? How does that strength progression work for you once you become an NFL player?
Great question, Joe. I never did bench, and it's obvious if you ever saw me take my shirt off. I'd assume, though, for the combine, you had to do the 225 press. Did you ever try that again after the combine and after your pro day?
No, never. And that's what's crazy about the combine. They have the 225 bench press. You train for it, and then you never do it again. And there's no maintaining in the NFL. If you're not getting better, you're going to get left behind. So you keep grinding and trying to get that bench up, but it goes away from trying to do multiple repetitions to doing 4 to 6 reps and increase the weight as you go.
Isn't your sister a power lifter?
Yeah, she's an Olympic weightlifter.
So your family, I would assume, has been hitting the weights ever since you're like a kid. Were you a big gym rat, obviously, your entire life?
Not till high school. My parents didn't really let me lift weights before high school because, I guess they thought it would be a detriment to, how the body builds. So I started in high school, and I was never really the strongest guy out there. But my college coach, Jim Bowman, always had a good thing when I got there in freshman year at The Ohio State University.
Playing football.
Don't compare yourself to. What's that?
The Ohio State is playing the football like everybody else this year, by the way. Big news, big news. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Big Ten, baby.
Yeah. It's Big Ten football. We're playing football over here at Big Ten.
Let's go.
Sorry about that. Your strength coach? Let's go there. Yeah.
Anyway, so he said, I don't want you ever to compare yourself to somebody else because I was coming in after LaCharles Bentley, and that man's a massive man, big bencher. And he was like, don't compare yourself to anybody else. Compare yourself to only you. As long as you keep getting better, you'll be all right. And so that's kind of what I maintained through my whole career.
What was your big lift? Was bench your big lift?
No, I was a crappy bencher. I was a squatter. I got big old birthing hips.
Hey, put that thing on my back and let these hips go to work.
Yeah, I could squat all day.
Let's go to Jonathan in Germany. Jonathan, guten Tag, my friend.
Guten Tag. How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Can you guys hear me?
I don't know German enough. What do you want to talk about, brother?
Hey, how many times, and this one's straight up for Nick, how many times is Sam Darnold going to get smashed this upcoming weekend? Because he is not going to be looking so good after this game with the 49ers.
That 49ers D-line is, last year they were a weapon. Obviously, Kyler Murray made them look a little bit different, but Sam Darnold is the type of quarterback that 49ers D-line likes to just beat the hell out of, though, Nick. You have to have a little bit of fear for the guy.
Yeah, I mean, first off, happy Oktoberfest.
Probably can't do it, but The mind, in the mind.
It's a mindset.
Yep.
But yeah, it's gonna be a heck of a challenge, and that's why I was really hoping for a win against Buffalo because I'm concerned about this game with that defense. I hope that they've had a great week of practice because it's going to be a 60-minute battle that I hope they can get out of.
Let's go to Ben in Boston. This is the last question for you, Nick. We can't thank you enough for joining us today. I assume these humans that are asking a question from all around the world are thrilled about it. Ben, what do you want to talk about?
Hey, boys, what's going on? I appreciate you taking my call. Nick, I got a question for you, just, being an outsider looking in. These young quarterbacks like Sam Darnold, Joe Burrow, even Deshaun Watson, they have the capability to make their own plays and stuff. But just from an offensive line perspective, I'm sure there are different techniques coming up that coaches have taught you growing up through the years. And I want to know, what is your opinion on why guys like these young quarterbacks are struggling to get protected? Is it a system thing, or is it just a bunch of different techniques that were brought up through the years that they're having a hard time adjusting to a new system?
Great question, Ben. They say there's an offensive line shortage in the world right now with the way college football is played. Do you agree with that? Is that off of Ben's question there?
Yeah, no, that works in perfectly. I think one of the biggest issues that you see in the NFL today is the college game. And, let's be honest, the college game is the NFL feeder system. And without the NFL having an input to what the colleges are doing, colleges are dumbing down the offense and dumbing down offensive line play. And so when guys get to the NFL, it's almost like they have to learn a whole new, not even system, but a whole new philosophy of how to block and how plays are designed. So that puts offensive linemen in a struggle, and then B, at the same time, these new quarterbacks coming in, the NFL is such a business that, it takes time. That's why the older, experienced quarterbacks like your Ryan Fitzpatricks can do so well for so long and stick around because he knows all the defenses, all the protections, and his mental capacity is able to handle it all. When you're coming out, your head's spinning, and it's difficult to try to understand, what the guys are doing up in front of you to protect you, but then also what the guys are doing for the routes. And so a lot goes into it, and that's why younger quarterbacks typically take a couple of years to get used to the game. And really shine.
Well, that's why whenever I decided to play NFL quarterback, I lined up 15 yards from the line of scrimmage.
Yep, smart.
You know what I mean? Smart. Give myself a little bit more space there, so if anything happens.
Gave you more time.
Yeah.
You can see the field.
Yeah, I can see the field. I got it out quick, obviously, because the snap's a little bit slower. But you got to make up in the back end what you're losing in the front end, you see? And that is simple math. Yep, you see that?
Yep.
You chop off the end to find the head. There we go. Now we're playing a game. Jets win 4 games. I'll drink some OG barbecue sauce, sweet with a little heat from 74 Barbecue, which is Nick Mangle's barbecue sauce. If the Colts win 9 games, you will do the same. We can't thank you enough for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. 7-time Pro Bowler, legend in the NFL, All-Pro Nick Mangle.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Always a good time being with you.
Hey, your face looks thin, by the way, kind of Faneca-ish.
I'm working on it. I'm nowhere near that, and I'm definitely not running any marathons, but I'm trying.
Running has always been punishment, by the way. I never understood how people get into it. My entire life, if I fucked up, they'd go run.
Yeah, go run a lap.
And my mindset, I think, would never be able to change. Anyways, Nick Mangle, thank you, buddy. I liked a lot of the things that he said there. I feel like I learned a lot
we were
there.
in the trenches there.
Whenever you dive into the trenches there with an offensive lineman who knows that much stuff and has also been around a long time and successful and can articulate what he's talking about, you feel like you learn a lot. That is where the games are won, by the way. We currently have Staples Center watching along live on YouTube, about 20,000 people, which is what Staples Center is. It feels pretty good. I don't know how many people are listening on Mad Dog Radio. We appreciate you all listening. I'm pumped till we got some callers to ask our guest a question.
Yeah. Really cool.
I think we will continue to do that. I think that is a cool thing, kind of open up the line, let people talk to Nick, because they probably have a better question than I can potentially ask him, because I've talked to Nick like 10 times at this point. So what am I going to ask about the guy that hasn't been heard already? I'm thankful for those questions. They were good questions, good conversation. Speaking of reaction from people, what is the internet saying, Zito, and what is your current poll saying? Because this is an intriguing one that I did not know was going to be this big of a blowout.
Yeah, so for the voice of the internet here, Feel Good Friday, this guy, Steven Steven Knutson said, I had $47 in my bank account last night at FanDuel, woke up with $240. Thank you so much.
That is what we're talking about. That is why NFL season is a beauty.
Yeah.
And that's why that last touchdown that Joe Burrow threw to bring him in within 6, and that's why him throwing over 238.5 yards, and that's why the over being crushed last night is just so magical for all of us. I fell asleep in the third quarter after he hit over 238.5 yards. I fell asleep. They were down 2 scores. I thought, damn, the Celtics money line didn't hit. The Bengals plus 6.5 aren't going to hit. I woke up this morning, quite a nice little surprise alongside this guy. I looked at, first thing I do is go straight to the FanDuel, see what I got left in there. Oh, man. And then I go to the bet slip. What happened? Oh.
Christmas came early.
And I'm like, let me go. All right, now we're going to Twitter here. Let's see what the hell happened here. And you got a lot of people going, oh, trash touchdown, screwed my Browns bet. I'm like, I don't care.
That's football, baby.
That's football. That's gambling, baby. That's what you got to do.
Defense.
How's the poll doing?
Poll's doing good. The poll was 10 years from now, who has the better quarterback legacy? Baker Mayfield, 10.5%. Joey Burrow, 89.5%.
That is with 18,000 votes. There's 3 hours left. Joey Burrow, 89.5%. Baker Mayfield, 10.5%. Everybody on the internet sure feels like Joey Burrow is about to have a great career. I don't think that's an indictment on Baker, by the way.
No.
I think that's actually a promotion of what they think Joey Burrow. Here's another promotion that we haven't got to yet that we should talk about. Tiki Barber and Saquon Barkley are in a hilarious situation. Tiki Barber, legend for the New York Giants, has come out and said some things pretty disparaging about our NFL running back, especially one the caliber of Saquon Barkley. He basically said he's not an every down back, can't block or something like that, can't do this, can't do that. Although he is explosive and has upside, he's not an every down back. And if you're a running back, especially one like Saquon Barkley, who is a powerful guy, who is one of the faces of the league at this point, for somebody who is at the place you were at the position you were at, to say something that you know running backs would get pissed off to hear about, has to be a pretty tough situation. Saquon Barkley handled it with a lot of class. He said, listen, Tiki's a legend here, blah, blah, blah. I'll use this as motivation and keep it moving. But I would assume Saquon Barkley and Tiki Barber are not going to be going out having conversations after this. This is one of those things you bury deep inside and go, okay, fuck that guy for the rest of his life. And I would assume Saquon Barkley is going to be able to keep it moving forward here. But that was very, very professional response by Saquon. And I guess there's nothing that should tell us that he should react any differently, because that's what Saquon's been, is pretty classy throughout this entire time.
Classy by Saquon. He said the right thing, I guess. I mean, I would have had a hard time not bringing up Tiki's like 87 fumbles, but that's just me. Saquon's a bigger guy than I am.
By the way, I would assume as soon as Saquon heard that, he went and was like, wait a minute, and did like a little search. Found out all those stats and was like, okay, other people will bury him for this. And that's the right move, by the way. If you're Saquon Barkley, Joe Judge is trying to set a new culture over there. You've bought in. You are obviously going to be a role model in that locker room, a mentor in that locker room. To handle it the way he did, I thought was very, very big of him, because just like you said, Diggs, I would have said, oh, Tiki's a legend, obviously. Now, Tiki had his faults, but he won games at the end, and he fumbled all the time, and his media career has been, his media career. But that's what I would have said if I'm Saquon Barkley. And then I would have said, but he's a legend, and I appreciate that. I would use motivation. I would have done a little sawing down while answering it. Saquon just took the high road the entire time, and that's the type of guy you want on your team. But for Tiki, like, take care of it. Like you've been in that position before, man. Like, I like Tiki, by the way. I think I've had good conversations with Tiki before. I think I like him in media. But, man, you've been in that position. I think that is the thing that hurts the most when you're in the game. When you hear former players talk and forget how hard it is to either win games or be in the NFL. And I think that's whenever you see locker rooms and current players be like, that guy's an asshole, fuck that guy.
It's also interesting that he would single him out for not being a good blocker when they have a fucking porous offensive line that can't block anybody.
Saquon was getting the ball and then getting tackled. I mean, that is exactly what he was doing. Like, as soon as he was getting the ball, he was getting tackled. Before we get into this break here and then kick off hour 3 on the other side, I have to tell you that there is a sunglass company that has the dumbest insurance and warranty policy that I've ever seen in anything. Replacement of your Shady Rays sunglasses happens if lost or broken, and there's a lifetime craftsmanship warranty.
Wow.
So Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company, so they're not just some big corporation that overcharges for shades. Everyone knows sunglasses are way overpriced to begin with. Shady Rays is out to do it differently with premium polarized shades at a fraction of the big name brand costs. Shady Rays has one of the best warranties in all of anything. Replacement of shades are lost or broken for any reason. It doesn't matter what happens. Did you drop in an ocean, a lake, anything? Did you break them while you sat down to poop? Anything you could potentially do, Shady Rays warranty will make up for it. Lost or broken, you got it. Exclusive deal for our viewers and listeners. It's like a Black Friday level deal. ShadyRays.com, use code McAfee, get 25% off any pair. Cool glasses, bro.
Hey, cool glasses.
We're back on the other side with AJ Hawk. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, September 18th.
His top target, the burner on play one, puts the Cougs on top.
What a start here in New Orleans, Adam. Everybody talked about De'Aaron King being a runner. The Tulane defense knew that. It almost felt like he was going to do it. Then he pulls up and drops a dime to Marquez Stevenson to start in an electrifying fashion, Matt.
The fridge, Pat, is back to punt. Ryan Wright.
I love this man. 6'3", 255. And he hits a bomb for the break. The fridge saw his team was in trouble, trotted out on the field, and hit a bomb. Yeah, and then I walked all the way through here, down here, sweating profusely, I'd assume. Up an elevator back here that will be loaded with humans. Up, all the way down here, into here, kickoff. Let's call it that. That is absolutely magical for the brand and for Dane Roy. They had 2 returners the entire first half. They put one back there. The ball goes over his head. Perfect bounce, perfect coverage. Good for the University of Houston. Section or in a weird place, maybe a remote area, and you have my mic on, ready to roll, my mic on, ready to roll, my mic on. So the sound didn't work on the field. So now we're sprinting up to the booth to get the wheel open. We don't have the sound works up there either. My makeup's all off. I thought I looked good. It's been melted off my face. Off to a hot start in humid New Orleans. You're gonna go. I'm gonna be so winded on that. How's it going, boys? Oh yeah, man.
McMillan.
What a tunner for
You hear the tone has changed a little bit because we got a linebacker join us with the best jawline in the history of sports. Super Bowl champion, national champion, AJ Hawk.
What's up, guys?
We've had back-to-back guests here from Centerville, Ohio, and I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. We just talked to your guy, Nick Mangold, about how the offense over there in Cincinnati that had Joey Burrow throwing the ball 61 times in a game last night is one that could probably be a little bit difficult for any offensive line to protect him, especially if that's how you're going to do things. What is your biggest takeaway from the game last night, Mr. A.J. Hawk?
Well, I mean, I don't think there'll be another time this season where Joe Burrow throws 61 passes.
Hey, we don't know. Zach Taylor was never called plays. He hasn't called plays since he was coaching a high school team, pal.
You're right. I mean, I guess he was consistently trying to kind of stay in that game, I guess. So that's why. And the fact that Joe looks so good throwing the ball. Like, he just looks cool, calm. He looks like he's in control. And he gets the ball out of his hands quick. He takes what the defense gives him. That's what makes Joe special, I think. A lot of those third down conversions, he's going to take he knows where he's going with the ball before the snap, I feel like.
And fourth down conversions. I mean, last night on fourth down, I think he was perfect or whatever. The thing that I've been saying that I enjoyed most about Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow just never seems like a moment is too big for him. Like national champion, I saw him at the SEC championship before the game even started. I saw him. They had this close up on his face down there at the Sphincter Stadium in Atlanta, whatever it's called, Mercedes-Benz thing. They had it, and it was on a jumbotron on a TV in this really nice suite we were in, Foxy. Hey, no big deal.
It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, big deal. College game day down at the SEC. No big deal. You're in a suite.
Shit.
Anyways, we got into the suite very early because it had air conditioning, and it was 4,000 degrees down there in Georgia, and we were walking around in jorts and a suit or whatever. But when we were in there, I'd never been in a suite before that early in a game, ever. Never been there. They had everything that was going on the field. So, like, I thought back to with the pre-warm-up when I was punting, they were probably just blasting my face into these suites where people were potentially at. And who knows what I was saying. They were zoomed in on Joe Burrow's face very tight on this TV that was in the suite I was in. And this is 3 hours before the game he just got there. He had these headphones on, and he just looked as if it was just another. This is the SEC championship game. Before this season had started, now granted, I know everything changed during the season. He was just a projected 5th-round draft pick. And here he is in the SEC championship game, and he just looked so cool, so calm, so comfortable. Then national championship. I do that megacast where I'm just roaming around the field for the entire time with a microphone live on ESPN2, and I'm within 1.5 feet of Joe Burrow during a warm-up of the national fucking championship game, biggest game that you could potentially be in or whatever, and he just seems so confident, just like so relaxed, the whole thing. At halftime, going into half, he gets his ribs shattered, I think. He comes back out. This seems to be a trend with him, is where he always feels comfortable, and last night, there was more than one occasion where I thought the Bengals were going to get blown out. Like, I thought, okay, they're down 2 scores. This is the type of situation where the quarterback will have a stupid turnover. This is where something will happen where they'll just completely lose it. And that never happened with Joe Burrow. And I think that is why Joe Burrow is going to be so good, is because he just has that confidence. He's that competitor. He's never going to quit. And it feels like he makes the right decision and no moment's too big for him. I like him a lot, but 61 times is going to get his ass killed back there, no matter who's back there.
I mean, Joe took some shots too, but going back to what you were saying, like the national championship, how he handles it so cool. I felt like his whole senior season at LSU, he came out of the gate so hot. I'm like, all right, eventually this guy's got to cool off, right? At some point. And no, he never did. He got into the college football playoff, nothing. It was like, hey, yeah, this is what we do. It's like 7-on-7 out here. I'm going to go. Remember the very first play of the national championship game that got called back?
Yeah, shot, right?
Didn't he scramble all over and then took a shot deep?
Yeah.
It got called back for some reason.
I do believe, yeah. I don't remember that, but I do remember, I think he also took a shot in the suck hole too a couple times.
Yeah.
Like he'll stand in there. You know what I mean? Like he will stand in there, which is not great news if you're a Bengals fan, because I watch a quarterback that would just stand in there and eat helmets, and it did not work out in the long run, but he gave us a lot of electrifying football. That AFC North is going to be problematic, though, for them for the next couple years. Long time. So they're going to have to get it going quickly. Who knows if Zach Taylor's the guy or not. Did you ever hit a quarterback in your career where you thought you maybe killed him?
I can't say I have. That would feel so good. But no, they protect him so well. That'd probably be a hefty fine if I did think the guy was dead.
The boys here said Kirk Herbstreit whenever you were a sophomore in high school, whenever the alumni game happened, where the people who graduated from Centerville High School would come back and play in a full padded scrimmage, even up to the ages of 30, against the high school football team. And Kirk Herbstreit, who went to your high school, was the quarterback, and he was like 30 years old at the time. And you went ahead and hit an illegal CTE shot to his chin, retired him and the game in the same thing. You didn't think at that point you potentially killed the voice of college football at that time?
So first off, this was like going into my sophomore year in high school, so there's no helmet-to-helmet rules back then.
Oh,
jeez. Okay.
Dr. Will Smith hadn't come out yet.
You're right. I mean, back then, I would have got annihilated by my coaches, everybody, if I didn't get Kirk on the ground. And with the angle I was at, his chin, jaw combo, neck just happened to be right there in my sights.
How old are you, 13? 14 years old? How old are you at that point where you're trying to assassinate a man?
I was 14, I believe.
Yeah, the jaw was the same.
How hard was that whenever the rules did change, by the way? Because you hear old school coaches, defensive-minded coaches, they go, hey, you don't just tackle the guy to the ground. You tackle him through the ground. And then all of a sudden football changed one day. Everything just changed. The NFL was like, hey, we're launching an initiative called Heads Up Football. Those who are in the NFL, what we used to lead into commercial breaks and come out of commercial breaks with as highlights, these monster hits, we used to sponsor actual segments that were about people getting head-to-head shots and killing people. I want to let you know, now you'll get fined $200,000 if you do any of that. Change the way you play football your entire life. You're going to have to do it or you're going to get run out of town. What was that like, that change, that transition into a strike zone as opposed to hey, get the guy on the ground, and if you do knock him out, when everybody used to celebrate for it, now you will get fined for it immensely. Was that a tough, difficult thing to change?
Yeah, I don't know the years that all the different rules went into effect, but I came in the league in 2006, and I do remember the shift when it started to where, hey, they're starting to fine people, like for if you hit a guy too high or whatever, but they weren't throwing flags. So when they were just fining you, you're like, yeah, this sucks, but I'm not going to change the way how I play until it gets really out of hand, I guess. When they started throwing flags when guys would have those questionable hits on the quarterback and it would give them a first down, it's 3rd and long or something, and you're in a tight game, and it gives them an automatic first down, that's when I started to really take notice. I'm like, oh, okay, now you can't just hurt yourself individually in your bank account. You can hurt your team by giving them first downs and extended drives. That's when I think it kind of made the shift.
Was it hard, though? Was it hard to change that from always leading with your like literally being taught, hey, you take the crown of your helmet and you go right under their chin? Like I am the punter, the kicker. Nobody has ever really taught me how to tackle, but there's been a couple coaches who have told me what they would like me to do, and I've been told and have heard many coaches say throughout my football career, you take the crown of your helmet right here and you put it right under their chin right there. You go ahead and send a message if you have to. And I'm like, yeah, you got it. I'm going to fuck. Well, first of all, I'm going to try not to get run over, but if I do get a chance to lay a shot on somebody, which is low, I will try to take their head off. I will try my best. And then it changed completely. It was like, hey, remember, heads up now. When you're going with the shoulder, lean with the shoulder. And guys started double guessing and like thinking of what they were doing. And then it almost became even more dangerous because guys were taking out people's knees. That was quite a transition process there. But I think we're at the point now where everybody that's in the league, basically, or a majority of people that are in the league, they played high school with the heads up football rules and everything like that. But it was a little bit of a process there where you old killers had to really transition into new players.
Well, safeties, the ones guys that are running like full speed 20 yards across the field, and they have to somehow adjust their strike zone when they're just trying to find a way either to get the guy down or to get a PBU. That's what I think was so tough for those guys. And then, of course, guys rushing the quarterback. Like, what are you supposed to do? If you work so hard, you finally get there. How do I find a way to get him down and not get a flag thrown?
Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews got like 7 flags thrown.
First 3 weeks.
Game was over. They tied because of it.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Happened again in overtime. Happened at the end of regulation, and then again in overtime.
According to my sources, Clay Matthews said, I will not be playing this year. Have you talked to him? Why hasn't he come on the show yet? Is he going to play? Is he waiting for somebody to get hurt? Maybe back half of the year? Have you talked to him since the last time we had him on here where he was saying he's kind of figuring out what he wants to do still?
Yeah, he definitely wants to still play. He never said he wasn't going to play. I think he's a bit annoyed by how the whole situation went out. Was it Schefter's the one who said?
Yep.
Yeah.
So my sources told me Clay, he's done. He doesn't want to play football anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Clay Matthews called him a rat.
The rat emoji treatment.
Well, I don't know if it was to Schefter or to whoever talked to Schefter. Right? You got to
There were 2 rats though on the emoji, so I think it was
one with Schefter.
One each.
Yeah, but maybe it was 2 sources. We don't know. I don't want to assume anything, by the way, because guess who did that? Schefter.
That's right.
Yeah, and pissed off a lot of people. Let's go to Pepe in Mexico.
Yes.
Aquí estamos, mi amigo. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Oh no, Pepe.
I think he was blown away by your Spanish.
By the way, pretty good there, huh?
Very good.
Very good.
Thank you. I said, here we are, my friend.
Yeah.
Massive delay.
Hello, how are you doing? I feel pretty good about what I just did there, and I can't believe he didn't answer, because if he comes back in Spanish right there, we clip that, and what are we? We're a international multi-language show.
Yeah. We already had Germany on today.
Yeah, I agree. And I Guten talked the shit out of that. I don't even think that guy knew any
3 languages
German at that point. You know what I mean? I mean, that is
the delay.
Yeah, the delay
between
stuff.
Mexico and
we,
United
dude.
States.
Yeah, we. Let's go to that's 4 languages. Let's go to Kelly in Indiana. What's going on, Kelly?
Hey, Pat, huge fan of you and the boys, and kind of had a wrestling question for you. But before that, just want to go ahead and apologize in advance to you and my buddy Anthony Rose for what the Vikings are going to do to the Colts this weekend.
Oh, Kelly. Kelly,
but-
before you get going, I want to let you know, I answered your call because we've had 0 female callers. I saw Kelly. I thought it was Kelly. Now here you are telling me that this Phillip Rivers Colts team is going to lose. I mean, I'll let you finish because you're from the great state of Indiana, but let's go ahead and take it easy on old Phillip Rivers.
Let me give you background. My parents saw my future and all the testosterone, so they had to back me down a little bit, gave me that name. But let's digress from there. Let's talk about something I've never heard you talk about, the greatest rivalry in WWE history. 2 years ago, ringside SmackDown, you versus Chicken. Can we have the story?
What? Who versus what?
You versus the Chicken at ringside.
Oh, I don't remember that. That is tough.
Huh? The chicken, like an actual chicken, or is this another wrestler?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out right now. I honestly don't remember. So every time WWE came to Indianapolis, I would go, right? Because I was a fan or whatever. And there was a couple times where I got seated in the seats where they put like the celebrities, you know, like where they're going to put on TV or whatever. There was this one time I took a bunch of teammates with me, and when WWE put us on TV, they listed off all my friends' names and not my name.
Jesus.
Wow. You know what I mean? And then there was one time where it was me and Overton, I forget who else in WWE said, members of the Indianapolis Colts is what they said, right?
on.
But they put us on the Jumbotron in the arena, pretty good pop in the arena, which made me feel very, very good. I don't remember the chicken, though.
We went to SmackDown, and I can't remember who it was. Someone had a chicken mask. I thought it might have been Diggs, but I can't remember. And they put the chicken mask on.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys went at it, a little toe-to-toe, a couple shots at ringside.
Oh, my God. I do remember that.
Here
now.
I am. I had no.
Diggs wore the chicken mask. Yeah. So if you're in the crowd at WWE, you're going to get on the air. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get on the air. And back in the day, you used to be able to steal the show with a good sign. Okay. You used to be able to steal the show with a good sign.
Yep.
If you were an
Ty have a famous John Cena sign, right?
What's that?
Ty has like a famous John Cena moment, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, Ty stood up on the chair and did an entire thing like this, and he ended up on a SmackDown commercial. So normally, if you're active, you can get yourself on TV. And the way we thought was a good way to do it is Diggs put a chicken head sign, and I choked the chicken. You know what I mean? Like I was choking the chicken on TV, and I do believe it made it on air, which is good. Never ran a highlighter.
I forgot about that.
Me too. That's a great memory too. We had to sneak the chicken head in there because we thought it was potentially going to get taken out. So it was an entire operation. AJ, the only thing you do is you go in the ring whenever you show up.
Yeah. You're big time.
That's what AJ Hawk does.
Yeah, I hold myself back though. Do you ever see Ari Shaffir and I believe Duncan Trussell during a UFC event? They sat right behind Rogan and they timed it up. The camera came and they were like showing Rogan talking, and they started making out behind him just for the hell of it.
No.
I don't know if they were making out. They started kissing each other just so they got on camera kissing.
No, but I love that. I think my favorite like bomb in a live sports shot was the two dudes that dressed up like umpires at the baseball game.
Oh, yeah.
The first time that happened, I thought, this is genius. They sat right behind the dugout or whatever, first row, and they were just punching people out the entire time.
Yep.
I love that. I love when the crowd becomes a part of the entertainment, whether it's just a grotesquely, ridiculously loud crowd, like I like that when they become a part of the game, or if it's a dull, stupid crowd and a couple people realize that this is their chance to really make something happen, I'm all about it. Producers and directors probably hate it because they have no idea what's going to happen. Like these people could potentially take over the show, but I'm a big. That's live TV, baby. That's right. Hey, that's live TV. That's going to happen. Let's go to Rule in California, spelled Rouuuul on here.
Oh, it's Raul.
It's Raul.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Never would have guessed. That one wrong. Never would have guessed.
So insensitive.
Raul, what do you want to talk about, brother? Sorry about that. Jesus.
Hey, Pat, I just want to tell you that thank you for giving me 3 hours of entertainment while I'm working. It's the best thing. I wake up every morning. I go to work. I put on my podcast, which is you. And it's great, man. I just want to say thank you for that.
Well, Raul, we appreciate you for listening. I was told that people in California hate our show because every once in a while we'll say the F word, and it's early morning.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Hey, man, I don't care. I'm an Indianapolis Colts fan from California. I get all this hate, and I'm currently working. But I have a quick question, Pat. How did you feel in that wild card game in 2013 when Andrew Luck defeated the Kansas City Chiefs with Alex Smith, a 44-45 victory? How'd you feel?
What were we down, like 24 or something like that?
35-0, I thought.
I don't know. It was big. We were down a lot. Thanks for the call, Raul. And I thought he was going to say the F word whenever he...
Fuck those people.
Yeah,
it was open.
Raul probably is a very nice guy and doesn't swear, like everybody else on this channel.
28 points.
Which I was not told about, by the way, whenever I was dropped in this channel, that nobody on this channel swears. And I can see how that could be a bit alarming if you've been listening to this channel. But, hey, just want to let you know, 95 more weeks, man. Sorry, after the late. 94 more weeks.
You're almost
in the
there.
next 2 years. 28 points we were down. Yeah, 28 points down. That was awesome. There was actually an onside kick called in the second half at one point that I checked out of because we didn't have the look. And as soon as I kicked it deep, everybody said, right move, right move. I was like, yeah, but if we lose and I didn't empty the barrel in the gun, am I a coward? So I'm very happy that we came back there and made that happen. But going into the third quarter, we were down 21. Then we threw a pick or something like that and go down 28. It was like whenever we thought it couldn't get any worse, it got worse. But that was the difference with Andrew Luck. Every single game we were in with Andrew Luck, it just felt like that. That's the game where he did the Superman dive over Mike McGlynn. He picked up the fumbled running back fumble and he dives in. I mean, that was a magical moment. It sucks for Alex Smith and Andy Reid and Kansas City Chiefs at that point. I assume the fans as well. But what a magical game. Is there any games you remember that you thought you guys were out of and then you make a magical comeback? Because, by the way, on the defensive side of the ball, doesn't get talked about enough. Like in those Chiefs comebacks, everybody's like, you know what? The Chiefs can score 28 whenever they need to score it. It's like, yeah, the defense also has to stop what they've not been able to stop immediately if you want to make it happen.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, you're right. The defense is probably going to need to get a turnover or two if you're down 21 or 28. Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback when I was there, so yeah, we had plenty of come from behind victories. One that definitely sticks out though. We were in Dallas and Matt Flynn started because Aaron was hurt. I don't remember the year. We were down a good chunk, and Flynn is from Texas. It was his second stint coming back with Green Bay, and he had a hell of a day, and we ended up winning the game, I believe. But it was I know we won, but I don't know how much we were down. But Flynn was the hero for a day in his home state.
We had the largest comeback in playoff history at the time. I'd assume that somebody might have beat that. I don't know. It was a really, really cool moment. I think my favorite comeback, though, involves the guy you mentioned there, Aaron Rodgers. Chicago Bears opening week a couple years ago. He goes in at halftime, hurt or whatever, and then he comes in the third quarter. He parts the seas as if he's Jesus coming out of the cave, and then all of a sudden it's just ding, 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 ding. And then afterwards, it's just kind of like, yeah, I knew I could feel a little something. Maybe I thought there was a chance there. I'm enjoying the hell, by the way. I'm enjoying the hell out of people learning about Aaron Rodgers as the person here from our show. A lot of people telling me, hate listening to Aaron Rodgers on Tuesdays because it makes me like him as a human.
Yeah.
And that's our job, I think, AJ.
Weird how that works, huh? Yeah, I mean it's the same thing to
Weird
where
how that works.
weird how that works when you see what a person's really like and you're like, oh, actually I really like this person.
Oh,
instead of what is presented or what you present, I guess, through mainstream media.
Oh, that's weird. The people that potentially have an agenda against a guy didn't portray him in the exact light that he actually is.
Interesting. He's actually cool.
Wait a minute. This selfish asshole isn't like that.
That's weird.
Whoa.
Are you sure?
And that's 2020, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, that's 2020.
Hey, you talked about Tiki, right? Tiki and Saquon?
Yeah.
I read some of Tiki's comments, and Tiki said, like, well, I remember when I had fumbling issues, a member of the press sat me down and said, I'm going to write this story about your fumbling issues. And I was thinking, what are you talking about? I don't have fumbling issues. Like, he said, and I'm glad because he made me aware of my fumbling issues. So maybe that's what I'm doing for Saquon. I was like, you didn't know that you fumbled on a consistent basis more than other running backs? And you don't think Saquon knows, like, if there's something he needs to work on, it's obviously pass blocking. Like, that's probably the toughest thing to pick up too when you're a rookie, or not, he's not a rookie, but when you're a running back in the NFL, of course he knows that. Like, it's not like you're making Saquon aware of something. Also, he had 37 Steelers defenders every time he touched the ball that were surrounding him.
I don't want to talk bad about Tiki because I've had great conversations with Tiki. I enjoy him in the media, and I wasn't around whenever he was playing, so I don't have any personal stories or anything like that. But what he did is the exact reason why a lot of players hate players that go into media. And I said this in the last hour, guys forget how hard it is to be in the NFL and how hard it is to win and how hard everything is and how, like I think that gets forgotten on some guys whenever they get in front of these microphones and they just start being like, well, you have to do this, you have to do this, you should do this. And the guys in the locker room are like, man, do you not... We're trying, dude. Like, what do you, like, these people are getting paid on the other side of the ball, too. Like, relax. And I think the interesting thing about Tiki coming out and saying that if it wasn't for the media telling him about his fumbling issues, he would have never known. Gary Vee said it this morning on Good Morning America.
True.
Mm-hmm. Self-awareness is the most important thing to having success in absolutely anything. Yep. I think Saquon is a very self-aware person, and I think Saquon answered that thing perfectly. And I hope it makes him better. And maybe he'll talk to Tiki again, but I would assume that's potentially a relationship that is always going to be a scarred one. I would assume that's going to be a scarred one.
Yeah, that's a tough one to come back from, just like you. I think you can hold that one in the back of your brain for a long time if you're Saquon Barkley.
What do you mean? I don't have any problems with Tiki or Saquon.
No, neither of them. I'm saying how you hold a grudge. Like, you will hold a grudge for life.
For life, brother. NWO. Let's go to Billy in North Carolina. Last question before we have to get to a break because Joe Thomas, the biscuit train with gravy wheels, is joining us on the other side. Cannot wait to chat with him. AJ's got a lot of questions for him. We talked about it earlier. Can't wait. He was a Titan in the Titan games as well, as well as being a tackle.
He won the Titan games.
Did he?
Well, one time.
Not how Titan games
A couple
were.
times he lost. They had to be tiring, though. There was no way he knew what he was getting into when he signed up for that. That looked like a puke fest whenever I was watching it. Billy in North Carolina, what do you want to talk about?
I have two things real quick, Pat. So the Colts have ruled out Jack Doyle for this Sunday.
Son of a bitch.
And then the second thing is Adam Schefter tweeted earlier, C.J. Anderson has retired from football and wants to pursue a coaching career.
C.J. Anderson was such an interesting running back because he was great, and then he disappeared. He was on no teams, and then all of a sudden he went with the Rams, right?
Yeah.
And he had a big push with the Rams there
Super
towards the end, make it to the Super Bowl. Congrats to C.J. Anderson retiring. If he wants to get into football coaching, I'd assume he already has a job lined up. Way to transition post-football. That's not an easy thing to do. Anytime anybody can step away from the league and feel content and happy with it, I'm here for him. So congrats to C.J. Anderson making that decision. It is not an easy one.
No. Yes. I don't know if you're getting to a break or not, but do you think? I don't know.
No.
I wonder where he's going to go coach. Do you still want to be attached to McVay?
I would assume that you now. I don't know. I've never thought about coaching, so I don't even know where you would want to go. Like maybe high school. Like maybe high school coaching would. I think high school coaching maybe would be the most enjoyable coaching style. College coaching, you're on all year round. You got to be able to recruit. You got no off days. But every college coach we've talked to, they're like, that's what we love about it. Like that's what we love about it. The NFL, you have to arbitrarily watch more film than everybody else. So your entire life is spent in the office, away from your family. There's no path in my life that I'm like, you know what, I'd like to go coach. But C.J. Anderson does. You got to have that bug. You got to have that gene to be able to do it, and I do not have it.
Does Phil Rivers need a running back coach down there in Bama? Because, I mean, here we go.
Or maybe the Lipscomb Academy down in Nashville with Trent Dilfer.
Dilfer.
I mean, there could be a lot of different places. A lot of guys are getting into coaching. I like that. I wish the NFL would change the review system and have an ex-player maybe in every single stadium that knows the rules and understands the rules and has been certified, and have an Xbox controller just like the XFL had, and have a direct microphone to the ref so we can expedite and make the fucking games quicker and better. That's what I wish we'd be able to do. Get Alberto Riveron's old ass out of there. Get out. Get an old player in there who understands it, who can talk it out like the XFL person was able to do with an Xbox controller. And people say, well, the challenge, the booth, is big-time commercial. commercial opportunity. Well, if he's using an Xbox controller, shout out to Xbox getting a little shout out. And if you're expediting the entire thing, Amazon, I would assume, would want to get a part of that.
Boom.
Now we're sponsoring Making the Game Better. Let's go ahead and do that stat. Speaking of doing that stat, we got to get to a break right now because Joe Thomas, legendary left tackle for the Cleveland Brownies, joins us on the other side now on the NFL Network. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, September 18th. Game parlay, Joe Burrow, 239 plus passing yards, Bengals to cover plus 6.5, and 44 plus points scored. Max bet $50 plus
Seems
7.
like you like that.
That is all of my bets. This is an expensive show, by the way. I'll hear somebody talk, boom, and I just start hammering things. Tonight, Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield. Over-under for Joe Burrow, I believe, is 238.5 yards against that Cleveland Browns defense. Baker Mayfield, I forget exactly what his is. 235.5, so they're pretty much the same. How do you feel? What do you think one of these quarterbacks is going to do? And how hard should we hammer your prediction for this evening?
Oh, hammer down.
Oh,
Joe Burrow, number one overall pick. He's gonna show why the number one pick this game, man. And last week he came within a drive, within a play, really, that OPI of winning the game. And he had a mean pass rush after him. Had some great DBs playing against with the Chargers. Casey Hayward was the AFC Defensive Player of the Week, actually. And he won't be facing that this week with the Browns. They only got one game record up front on defense. Myles Garrett.
There's also a super boost on Chubb to be the first touchdown scorer. I can't remember what it is.
630?
580 to 670, somewhere like that. Which, if the Browns want to win, you fucking feed Nick Chubb. I'm actually probably going to play that.
How are we feeling about this weekend? I'm sorry I missed it. I just had to take a shit in a phone call. Are we dominating the weekend or what?
I like some of the games this weekend. We just talked about the Colts. I like the Colts and lay the points. I like the Eagles in a pick'em game. That line has moved to all different variations against the Rams. I also like the Niner game came out on and when I make my picks on my podcast, I always go by the circa $1 million bet thing, that tournament. So they came out today, and the Niners are under 7. I don't know how the Jets can move the ball. I mean, Le'Veon Bell's hurt. Their offensive line. Of the teams that looked bad last week, that played bad, I want to bet against them. The Vikings were one of those teams. The Jets were one of those too.
Yeah, do a little drop in there, techno. How do you do? Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. 2:31 here in about 9 seconds Eastern Daylight Time, wherever you may be. I hope you're having a fantastic Friday afternoon. Joining us right now is a man who's a 10-time Pro Bowler, 8-time All-Pro, a member of the All-Decade team. He played 10,363 consecutive snaps. Now, Joe Thomas is an NFL Network analyst, and you can follow him on Twitter at JoeThomas73. You can see Joe throughout the season on NFL Network's NFL Game Day Kickoff every Thursday at 6 p.m. Also a Titan, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Thomas. Attaboy, Joe.
Clap for myself? Oh, I was looking for the applause cue. Sorry.
No, the guys in here clapped. You didn't have to clap for yourself, but if I was you, I'd clap for me all the time. Joe, I would like to talk about the Browns, your performance on NFL Network. You do great. But I have to ask you about the Titan games first. Did you know it was going to be as miserable whenever you signed up? Because I watched you. I've watched Victor Cruz on there. I watch everybody else. I would puke. That seems a lot harder than I would have ever imagined. Did you know what you were signing up for whenever you said, yes, I would do that?
Absolutely not. There's
a
reason they don't tell you what you're in for, because nobody would sign up for it. It was legitimately brutal. I mean, if you can imagine a football play is, 5-6 seconds if it's a really long play for an offensive lineman, and you push yourself as hard as you can for 5 or 6 seconds, you're going to be really tired. Well, the Titan Games competition in Mount Olympus was like 3.5 minutes straight, and it was just one obstacle after another of pushing yourself to exhaustion, to the point where once I got to the last obstacle, which was like that ball and chain drag, I started losing coordination. Like my hands weren't working, my legs weren't working. It was to the point where my brain wasn't getting the oxygen it needed, and I was actually dying. And so, knowing that, I don't think I would sign up for something like that again. I am pretty dumb because I'm an offensive lineman, and if they came calling, who knows, I might make the same mistake.
I was actually dying. Titans, turns out, no.
Joe, how would your old body, when you were playing the NFL body, have done? Would it have done better or worse, you think, in Titan games?
Oh, much worse. The little cages that they made you crawl through were such an advantage for these small guys. And so even though I'm about 50 pounds less than I used to be, it was still really a challenge for me to wedge my big body into those little spaces to try to get through like a little hamster going up and down these little HVAC ramps. It was tough, and I definitely don't think that Fat Joe would have even fit into those cages.
Hey, well, Fat Joe had a hell of a career, and Fat Joe played for the Cleveland Browns for a very long time, and Fat Joe did not make the playoffs. So let's talk about Skinny Joe watching the current Cleveland Browns with Baker Mayfield, Kevin Stefanski. Now you got Andrew Berry running the thing. What does the future look like for the Browns? Was last night just a picture of it? A lot of run game. Let's go ahead and ground and pound. We'll use the play action to help us. Is Baker Mayfield, in your eyes, the future for the Cleveland Browns at quarterback? What do you think happens inevitably?
Well, that's the recipe for success in this offense. You guys know that this is an offense that features the running game. They're going to feature the outside zone. They've got two great running backs in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And everything starts with running the football, because that's what allows them to throw the play action pass, to get a lot of those big chunks down the field when the linebackers are sucking up on the line of scrimmage. They're worried about filling into their gaps in the run game. Those safeties got their eyes in the backfield because they're getting hammered on the sideline about flying down there and eliminating the run game. That's when you can throw the football up top, and that's when the Browns are going to be at their best. And that's what we saw last night from Baker Mayfield and the Browns against the Bengals. He was exceptional in play action pass in the first half. That's what allowed Odell Beckham to get involved and to score that long touchdown down the sideline. So if they're able to run the football, that gives Baker and that offense a lot of things that they can do. But if they have to be a traditional offense where Baker's going to be forced to stand in the pocket and throw the ball 61 times like Joe Burrow did last night, that's not going to be a great recipe for success. I've got a lot of confidence in Baker after what we saw last night. I think it's a lot safer to say that he's going to be the franchise quarterback for the long term, but this is going to be that make or break year for Baker. Week 1 was not very good. Week 2, totally different story. I think the story remains to be written for the rest of the season on what is going to happen with Baker long term, because he played great as a rookie, not great in your second year, but the third year is always the most important year for a quarterback, because after this year, that's when they need to decide if they pick up that 5th-year contract.
Joe, how do they win games? Like, will they be able to consistently win games if they are somewhat one-dimensional? Like you said, they need to run the ball and work play action off of that. Let's say a team takes that away. Can they still win games if Baker does kind of have to be that pocket passer?
Well, I think we saw last year with Jimmy G and the San Francisco 49ers running the same offense that it's hard to take that away, right? Because if you want to take away the running game and you really commit all your resources to that, the Browns have Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, and they can still run play action when there's an 8-man box. That's actually the best way to run it because you've got those guys already down close to the line of scrimmage. And even though you aren't maybe running the ball efficiently, when you're an offense that commits to running the ball 30 times a game, no matter how the outcome is of those runs, those teams still have to bring those guys up to the line of scrimmage. And the Browns do have the weapons at receiver to be able to make teams pay. So I'm not really concerned as much about what teams are going to try to take away as I am how well the Browns are able to execute and stick to their game plan.
Hey, I'd like your take on that make or break for Bake thing that you just said there. So Baker Mayfield, year 3 here, is going to have to show, obviously, that he's the quarterback moving forward because the selection and the opportunity to get the 5th-year option is in the team's hands this offseason. Do you think that's a number of games won? Do you think it's like, hey, it looks like he's potentially good? What do you think Andrew Berry is going to be judging that off of? And I would assume the entire city of Cleveland is also doing the same damn thing every single game. Like, is this our guy or is this not our guy?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a wins thing because quarterback is the most important position on the field. They have easily the most influence on the outcome of the game, but it's not everything. And really, this is Baker's first year in this offense. He's in his 3rd year in the NFL. He's had 4 offensive coordinators in 3 years, and so it wouldn't be fair to expect him to be a finished product that's leading his team to victory every single week. And so measuring him by wins and losses, I don't think is fair. It's going to be a look thing. It's going to be his comprehension, his understanding of the offense and the decision making. And a lot of that stuff is really only going to be known within the walls in Berea and the Browns front office and coaching staff, because they're the ones coaching him up every single week and determining, is he picking it up? Is he making the right decisions? Is he throwing the football where he should? Is he showing the leadership at that quarterback position that he needs to? Those are the things that it's going to come down to. And those are not tangible things that we can touch and feel. And as fans, we love the touchy-feely stuff, the stats where we can easily point to this and have black and white decisions and opinions on players. But when it comes down to Baker Mayfield, being that he is new in this offense and it's only his 3rd year, at the end of the year, it's going to be that, hey, you know it when you see it type thing.
Joe, I know you played for multiple head coaches.
30.
I'm not trying to get you to name any names. If I wanted to reference Stefanski and what he does for the team, but how weird is it, I guess, when you have a whole new regime come in? Is there times where sometimes you're like, okay, this isn't going to work? Like, do you ever know early on that
this guy stinks?
It's happened before. You get the coach that comes in and you're just like, man, this dude is way over his head. But I will say there are moments that sometimes you have that, this is never going to work. And it proves you wrong. 2014, Mike Pettin was the head coach, and this is not about Mike, but Kyle Shanahan was our offensive coordinator. And training camp, and then preseason, we had 4 preseason games, unlike this year. At the end of the preseason, Alex Mack came up to me, who was our center at the time, and he was like, how do you think we're going to be? You've been around a long time. You've had a lot of coaches. And I go, I think we're going to be lucky if we win 1 game. I mean, we looked terrible. Like, we couldn't get the ball back to the line of scrimmage. We couldn't organize a screen. We had no ability to throw the football down the field. We were missing checks. We were jumping off sides. And I had no confidence in what we were going to do. And sure enough, first half of the first game, we sucked. We were down by like 30 against the Steelers in the first half. But all of a sudden, we went into the locker room, we came out, and we just said, screw it. We're just going to run the football. We're just going to get up into our turbo offense, which you heard Baker Mayfield say a lot last night, which meant we're just going to hurry up. We're going to get to the line of scrimmage. Kyle Shanahan at the time would stand way back so he could see the defense. And Troy Polamalu was playing for the Steelers at the time. And so whatever side Troy came down to from his safety position, we were running away from him. And so literally Kyle would stand back there because he could still talk to the quarterback, who was Brian Hoyer at the time. And he would tell him basically go left or go right. And then we'd quickly check away from Troy and we'd run the ball outside zone one way or the other. And it was like all of a sudden it just clicked. everybody all of a sudden saw what Kyle's vision was for that offense, and you understood your own little 1/11th role for that offense. And it was beautiful. And we actually had the most success that I had in my career since my rookie year. And it was my second most win total of my 11-year career, which is really not saying much. I get it.
How
But
many?
Still,
How
we
many?
had way more success than I thought and way more success than I anticipated when we were in training camp.
How many wins that year?
I think we won 7. I think we were
Let's
7.
Let's go!
Hey, we're the best.
Hey, a lot of comments in the YouTube about the books that are behind you, because AJ has the same books every single day behind him, and he refuses to bring any of them out.
Yeah.
None of them have titles on them. For you, it does look like those are books that you have read. Are you a astute reader, or that just for optics?
I'm not a big reader. I don't read well. I went to a Big Ten school, but I love AJ's move there. The boss move of turning the titles around. So you just think they're like ancient books that don't even have a binder on them. They don't even have any words.
AJ, will you grab one of those books for us? Will you grab one of those books?
I think. Well, let me look.
Those at the Goodwill, he got those in like the 5-cent bin at Goodwill, right? He's like, I need to fill
one
these
here.
bookshelves.
Yeah.
My
brother, actually, that author, Ryan Hawk. My brother.
Wow. Hey, get that green one right over your
by
shoulder.
Michael Scott.
Get that green one.
That's the one I want to see.
Get that green one right.
Oh no, there's one. There's one. Oh.
Oh, wow.
That's unbelievable.
I'll put it back on the shelf.
Okay, yeah, it's very nice of you. Joe, what we're saying is yours look like real books. AJ's are clearly fake.
Real fake.
The working at NFL Network, what has that process been like? Because everywhere is obviously different, and I don't know if you assumed you were going to get in the media or not whenever you're done. Now you're at NFL Network. Great cast and crew. I watched you guys last night. How has it been at the NFL Network? Have you enjoyed it? Is media something you will stick with, you think, throughout your entire retirement here?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the cool thing about being sort of semi-retired at 35, 36 is I kind of have the ability to choose what I want to do. And I knew I wanted to make my kids and my family priority when I left the game, because that wasn't my priority when I was playing. And so I just kind of stumbled into the media thing, and I'm like, hey, man, this is actually pretty cool. Like, I get to still be around the game of football. I get to talk about football, hang out with the guys, talk trash, and, get paid. And so the family at NFL Network has actually been really awesome. There's a lot of really cool players former players that are there, but also a lot of the other hosts that didn't play, I've developed really cool relationships with. But I tell you, doing Thursday Night Football remotely from your house when you're basically on a Zoom meeting with everybody, it has been a little bit challenging. I'm sure you guys have felt that a little bit during this pandemic. When you can't be in the same place and you're trying to do a show, especially a show that features some type of interviews, just the whole directing traffic and making sure you're not stepping on each other's toes and talking over each other, it definitely is something that takes a little bit of practice. And I'm sure we're going to be a lot better in week 2 than we were in week 1. But more than anything, we're just trying to produce a fun and entertaining show, and it helps having a couple of goofballs like myself and Steve Smith and Michael Irvin, who ate a turkey sandwich at halftime, and he left like a nice little bit of turkey right there on his lips when we came back on air, which gave us all a few good chuckles and sent the Twitterverse into outer space.
I would assume Michael Irvin, anything he does is pretty good. And anytime you can get some goofballs on TV is always good news. We're all on the same playing field. 2020, you guys did a great job yesterday. I assume week 2 will also be great. Ladies and gentlemen, guaranteed Hall of Famer whenever time comes, Joe Thomas. Thank you, Thank you, Joe. Have a good one, Bob. All right, let's get to some phone calls here to wrap up the hour. AJ, you enjoy that conversation with the Titan, Joe Thomas, or what?
I did. I could talk to Joe for hours. There's so many questions I have about the organization there, and I just wonder if he feels. Should have asked him, but yeah, if he feels Stefanski is the guy.
Let's go to Kelly in Nashville. Kelly in Nashville.
There we go.
Kelly.
Hey guys.
This is the first call that isn't from one of our significant others. That is a female to the show. So, Kelly, welcome aboard. Great to have you here. Kelly. What would you like to talk about?
Thank you. you. Well, first I want to say thanks for allowing me to be on today, and I'd also like to thank you for being on in a myriad of fashions so that I can listen to you guys wherever I am, whether it's the car or running or whatnot. So thank you.
Oh, no, thank
I
you.
love the show.
Thank you, Kelly. Don't thank us. Thank you, Kelly.
I will also say when I need a very good giggle, your draft day in Tennessee makes me laugh all the time because I have to put up with a lot being a Colts fan in Nashville, so I appreciate that.
No problem. It does feel like they are getting the better end of everything right now, though, so buckle up down there. Could be a little bit, yeah, all right.
I know. So my question is, when I have watched some of the games, I see preseason, it seems to play to whether the team is playing good or they're playing bad. And what I mean by that is some people use it as an excuse, like there wasn't preseason kind of expected. But if a team's gelling, maybe it's because they've been with the same coaches or line for a couple of years. Now, being a diehard Colts fan, should I start panicking or do I need to ride this out and give Phillip and the boys some time? What are your thoughts on that?
Great question, Kelly. Great question, Kelly. Thank you for that call. We appreciate the hell out of you. I think situations are situational, obviously, but whenever you're talking about younger teams, they're probably going to be struggling coming out of that with no real offseason, no preseason. I thought Phillip Rivers, because he knew the offensive system, and that's why he was chosen over the likes of Tom Brady and Cam Newton and anybody else that was potentially a free agent. I didn't think there would be as much of a learning curve, but everybody's got to work it out, got to figure each other out. I would assume here in the next 3 weeks, there's going to be a lot of teams that look much different than they do now, and let's hope the Colts are one of those teams, Kelly.
Is Kelly still with us? I mean, I don't think there's any need to worry after 1 week. I guess when would you start to worry, Pat?
Week 4.
Week 4?
Yeah, first quarter of the season done. I think that's whenever they are who we thought they were. I think that's the conversation.
And if you're bad, you just got to make sure don't let it get out of control. Don't go 0-4. Don't go 1-3. Try to split it. If you can go 2-2, then it's like, all right, we still can claw back in this thing.
Did the Green Bay Packers talk in quarters a lot? We talked in quarters a lot. First 4 games.
Yeah, not a ton, but yeah, it was a thing.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that until just now we started talking about that. Let's go to
Tomlin's huge thing.
What's that?
Tomlin's huge thing is quarters as well.
Well, if you look at it that way, then you only have a 4-game season. And then bang, we're in another one. Here's another 4-game season. Then, hey, now we're in a spot where we have to get at least 3 of these. If we want to make the fourth quarter even count, we have to do this. So I think it's a pretty good little motivational thing. Kind of keep it a little smaller picture whenever we're talking about a grander thing happening, obviously. Let's go to Josh. Let's go to Justin in South Carolina. What's going on, Justin?
Not much. Doing pretty good on this Feel Good Friday.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about down there in South Carolina. I want to let you know, I went noodling one time down there in South Carolina. I fisted a fish, and I pulled that catfish out of its lake, out of its home, and it was 33 pounds. Now, when I lifted that thing up, I was tired. My back was sunburned because I was bent over in the lake all goddamn day. But I dropped that thing right back in the lake. That thing went back in the hole. I put my hand back in there, and that thing bit me. I thought we'd become friends, but we were not friends. Good noodling story out of South Carolina down there.
Sorry, man. You got nuts the size of a Mack truck. I would not do that for snapping turtles.
I wasn't even told about that. I didn't even know that was a chance. I just stuck my hand in that hole, and then the catfish came. And the catfish, by the way, doesn't have teeth, but it has sandpaper on the inside. So it feels like you're just getting your entire arm just shredded. Yeah. But then you go through the mouth, out the gill, you lock that thing up as if you're putting a headlock on somebody, and then you stand up and pull that son of a bitch out, and you're fighting a dinosaur. 33 pounds at that point. Jesus. Yeah, it was a pretty good day. Pretty good day for old Pat McAfee.
Yeah, I know some people that use jet skis to haul them back to shore, but yeah, I wouldn't do it. Not for me.
Well, I mean, I didn't know there was snap turtle. Somebody told me potential gator was in there. Or something.
They can't fit in those holes.
A croc? Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, what do you want to talk about, Justin?
Yeah, so the Eagles have habitually been hurt. Like so many players been injured, even during the Super Bowl run. And I was just wondering, is that something that's due more to conditioning or age? And if it is conditioning, is it time to get someone new?
Great question, Justin. I think the Eagles just seem to be one of those teams that's just injury-ridden. It makes no sense. They always get hurt. I don't understand. And I've been on some teams that get hurt, and I've been on some teams that don't get hurt. I don't know why it happens. I think it's luck. I think there's a lot of luck involved in that thing.
There's a ton of luck involved, I think. And, yeah, like, you got to look at what kind of injuries they are, too. Like, you hear, is it soft tissue? That means then a lot of times they'll point to the strength and conditioning staff and say they're either working them too much or they're not working them enough. It's usually not working them enough is what people will say. But, yeah, I think there's so much luck involved. So much. Like, look, every game, like A.J. Green caught a slant last night and I think Denzel Ward was on his back, and the safety came in and chopped his legs and scared me to death. I was like, both of us just tore both ACLs,
Yeah.
both Achilles. His leg is dislocated, and he just pops up and keeps it going. Like that for somebody else, if his foot is planted in the ground, bam, he's out for the year.
That's like Michael Thomas's ankle. I mean, he's blocking Latavius Murray, just ends up under his thing. It's like, well, sprained ankle could be out a couple weeks. It's like so much luck involved, but everybody always wants to pawn blame on somebody, which makes sense because it's an accountability business. But sometimes you just have to take the easiest thing. It's like, maybe they just got unlucky. We got about 4 minutes left here. I think we should preview some week 2 matchups that we have. There's a lot of games going down. Falcons at Cowboys. I like the Falcons because Darius Butler said that Matt Ryan's going to throw all over the Cowboys. That's your Super Bowl pick. Do you think Cowboys bounce back quickly?
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, the Falcons gave up 4 touchdown passes to Russell Wilson last week. I understand it was Russell Wilson and how special he is. But no, I think it's going to Dak's going to try to run the ball with Zeke, and then when he has his opportunities, he'll take them. And I think Dak's going to do well.
All right, Panthers at Bucks. Bucks minus 8.5. I like the Tampa Bay Q Gronkaneers. 8.5 is a lot of points, though. I'm probably not going to bet on that one. Lions at Packers. Packers minus 6.5. Lions are banged up in the back end. I would assume Aaron potentially throws for 4, 5, 7, 800 yards, AJ.
I mean, that's the plan, right? They are banged up in Detroit. This is, I guess it could be like a franchise-saving win if they could find a way to beat Green Bay.
That's not going to happen.
Broncos, that's a Lions fan, Evan Foxy. Broncos at Steelers. Steelers minus 7. I like the Broncos. I mean, I like the Steelers a lot as a team. I like the Broncos here. Let's go to the Jags at Titans. Titans minus 7.5. Are the Jags or the Titans the Titans? Nobody knows. I'll stay away from that. Vikings at Colts. Colts will have 7,500 fans there. Colts are minus 3. That makes no sense to me, AJ.
No, it doesn't. But you know what? I think the fans help. How many did the Browns have? Like 6,000? You can still hear them. I know they might be pumping in stuff too, but I think even if it's 5,000 fans, I think it still makes a difference.
And by the way, for the entertainment of the game, it makes it a lot better. Bills at Dolphins. Dolphins are plus 6 at home. They can't sell 13,000 tickets to their fans. Is Josh Allen great? We will find out. Giants at Bears. Bears are favored by 5.5. Who knows how that'll go? 49ers at Jets plus 7. I don't know if they had plus 70, this would matter. I think the Jets lose by a lot here. AJ, your thoughts?
Yeah, good chance. That's what it's setting up to be that way. But if the Jets were ever going to beat the 49ers, it's right now.
No Richard Sherman. George Kittle probably out against the Jets. He'll be back against the Giants. They're saying he's potentially going to play. Why risk it? If you have him out in the East Coast for 2 weeks, you're playing the Jets. Everybody on earth thinks they stink. Might as well just let him get ready for the next week. Football team at Cardinals. Cardinals minus 7. Kyler Murray looked very good, but I like that Washington football team. 7 is a lot of points in my eyes. Rams at Eagles. Eagles minus 1.5 against the Los Angeles Rams. Aaron Donald might eat that entire offensive line.
Yeah, he might. Let's see if they can find a way. The Rams, man, I think the Rams, if they do win this game, people are going to take them serious as legit contenders.
This early in the year, I don't think the cross-country trip is that big of a deal.
No, it's not a huge deal, especially everyone's been cooped up. They're probably excited to get on an airplane and travel a little bit.
Ravens at Texans. Texans are plus 7 against the Ravens. I'm going to stay away from that one because I don't think we know anything about the Texans, and we know the Ravens are good. Chiefs at Chargers. Chargers plus 8.5. Not going to be enough. Chiefs are going to potentially just rout them. And then Sunday Night Football, Patriots at Seahawks. I like the Patriots plus 4 against the Seahawks a lot. No 12s in the stands, AJ. No 12s at all.
None. Well, I like the Seahawks here. I'm not taking I'm just straight up. I like the Seahawks. I think Russ is going to continue to do this. I hope they let Russ continue to throw. Let Russ cook. Is that that's the mantra going on right now? Just let him throw the ball, man. Let him work his magic. That gives you the best chance to win.
You know, I mean, that's a part of cooking.
Yeah,
they always
mixing the eggs. Like you're mixing up some muffins.
Yeah, but anytime they say cooking, this is James Harden, and I think it's because you're cooking up baking soda, I believe, with the cocaine, which makes it the crack there. I believe that's what is Russell Wilson cooking up crack.
Wouldn't put it past him.
So he'll probably do this then, as if he's flipping pancakes or burgers. Yeah, I don't know if he's mixing in any baking soda, maybe some crab cake, something like that. I like the Patriots. You like them? You like the Seahawks to win, Patriots to cover? Is that what you said?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think the Seahawks, I'd like them to even cover. I don't get it.
Oh, son of
I think the Seahawks win. They're going to win by 6 or more.
My super boost at FanDuel this weekend is the Chiefs -8.5. That bet everywhere else is -110, which means you bet $100, you only win $90. At FanDuel, because it's my super boost, it is +150. Whoa. You bet 100, you win 150. You bet 50, you'll win $75. Let's have a day. Have a great weekend. From myself and all the boys here, we can't thank you enough for watching and listening. AJ, do you have anything to say to the Mad Dog Radio Channel 82 crowd?
Appreciate it. You know what? I am proud to be on your show when we lead in to one of the greatest radio legends of all time.
Oh, you're talking about a man who was a trailblazer in the sports talk world, a man whose name is used to name this channel, Channel 82. You're talking about Chris Mad Dog Russo, Mad Dog Unleashed, which comes up right after this break. The most electrifying sports talk in the history of sports talk is on the other side of this break. If you're at YouTube or Sirius, we can't thank you enough for spending the week with us. We'll see you on Monday. You're the best. Have an incredible weekend. Cheers. Okay.
Wow.
Thank you. You did a great job, too.
Good job. Great job, dude.
Bob, you did a great job, Bob.
Big Bob.
Hey, Bob.
I really enjoy getting a chance to intro Mad Dog. Because I feel like that is real radio level shit there. For our YouTube subscribers, I'd like to let everybody know. We're on the road to 1 million, and it is climbing quickly. 962,000 subscribers as of this morning. I have no idea what we'll be at on Monday. We hope it grows, obviously. At 1 million, we have figured out what the giveaway is, and it's a lot of money. It's a lot of prizes. I mean, we got a lot of stuff. Massive. So if you could be a friend, tell a friend. We'd be very, very, very grateful. Somebody just screamed in my ear from Sirius there. That was awesome. I don't know if that's Mad Dog or not, but we appreciate everybody here. Muy mucho. AJ, what do you got this weekend?
My kids got some games, so it's nice
Foosball?
to see them play. Soccer, football, everything's going on now.
Are you a vocal parent? No, you're probably pretty quiet, laid back.
I don't say a word.
On the field.
I don't say a word.
My kids need to be coached by their coaches, not me. They don't need to be looking over at me like a lot of kids have to do. It's sad to see. I hate it.
Why not? You played in the NFL.
Yeah, Jesus, you're a professional athlete. Maybe you should.
I don't even know the rules to soccer. Should I be yelling at my daughter during the soccer?
Play FIFA one time.
Pretty simple, dude. Ball, kick the ball. Net. Don't touch it with your hand.
They call offsides all the time. It's just, I don't.
Well, you talked to him in the car ride home. Hey, maybe be a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
Show him some Pele film.
You know, I'm potentially getting into the baby making game, Like I'm potentially getting in there at some point. Now I'm married. We're moving on. And the thought of what type of father I'm going to be has been something that really has creeped into the mind every single night, basically. Just like these moments, like, what am I going to do? Like, am I going to tell my kid, like, hey, fucking hang it up, bud, but you're wasting your parents, you're wasting your mom and I's time.
Good parenting.
Or am I going to be like, you know what? Have fun out there, I don't know what I'm going to do. Get some new world. I honestly have no idea what type of parent I'm going to be.
Yeah, you don't know until you're presented with that when it's your own kid, and you have to like think and be like, oh, okay. This is what my parents went through at some point. Like that's when
I'm worried about that.
You get creative with it, man. You'll be great. You just got to be creative. Kids love it. Kids will love you because you'll always have random off the wall things to say, and they'll be like, man, my dad is a lot different than my friend's dad.
I'm going to be the good cop too. I'll let Sam be the bad cop for sure.
Oh, you definitely. You'll roll in at like 7:30. She's trying to get the kid to bed. Yeah, you rustle him around. You wrestle with
Let's
the kid.
hang out. You want some Mountain Dew?
That's exactly who you will be.
Hey, Dad's got to go to bed. He got to get up early. But Mom's excited to hang out with you tonight. Isn't it movie night, Mom? Isn't it movie night, huh? No. Oh, no. Only with Dad. Okay, got it. Yeah. With all the animals, though, she's good cop. Like, all the animals, very much. Now, granted, Valerie, the Shar-Pei Pit Bull, our oldest dog, she is a daddy's girl. That's what she is. But every other animal loves Sam. So I decided with the human pets, they love me. Hate her. I've decided. That's what I've completely decided.
It's a good trade-off.
I think so. I mean, you can have
Chuck. What about, are you the bad cop with like the raccoons and the squirrels and all the randoms?
For sure. By the way, my wife is at the point of hand feeding raccoons now.
Wow.
She's hand feeding raccoons at this point.
Impressive.
They're taking the food from her hand as if it is like an arranged like a deal. She's hanging like cheese poofs out there, and they're just coming up, taking it out of her hand, eating it, and then they go back and they get their palms wet, right? Because they don't have saliva, so they have to get their hands wet. There's a little bowl out there to put water. They get their hands wet, and then they'll come come back, and Sam will just be holding something out the door, and they'll come up and just grab it with their hands, and then they eat it, and then they just kind of walk away. Wow. That's where we're at right now.
They're
with
vermin.
Yeah, be careful with those
Dangerous.
things.
It's like Pocahontas.
It's dangerous.
You wait till they start foaming at the mouth. You think they don't have saliva. They're rabies.
Hey, Snow White, by the way. Snow White.
Also her.
Yeah.
Pocahontas had a raccoon she fed. That's why.
Oh, I didn't know. But this is every animal. Is she what she's doing with the fucking deer? Have you seen what my lady's doing with the deer at this point?
Deer stink.
She's feeding these lawn dogs basically by a cup of food at this point. I mean, just putting it out there, and the deer are just walking right up it. It's insane. She is Snow White. Like the things that the animals just flock to her. A fox came up to her the other day. I was like,
If those raccoons are rabid, you might want to like dangle a cheese poof off the end of a shotgun and get rid of it. We do not need those things reproducing on your property.
Oh no!
Did anyone notice Connor? Connor would seem so proud of when you said something about a fox. Evan, and no one gave him any confirmation.
that happens.
AJ, he would have been the same guy in high school that's when What Did the Fox Say song came out. Oh, hey, Foxy, what did the fox say? You guys are very funny.
Well, no, in high school we would have bullied you, but yeah, for sure.
Well, that's because you went to high school for 6 years.
And that's because you get bullied by everyone.
Greatest 6 years of my entire life.
So, I mean, it's very interesting. McAfee Mafia members, Matt, the studio at my house is almost finished.
Oh, looks good.
AJ, I know you're up there in like your villa part of the house up there where your studio is. The studio that's being built in my house right now is it's a Zito and Tim McAfee production. So you can already have your mind wrapped however it is on how you think it's set up. There's a lot of wires. There's a lot of shit just kind of getting in place. But it looks unbelievable.
Looks really cool.
I'm very, very pumped for that. In the McAfee Mafia members, I'll be doing exclusive content from my house on a regular occasion, watch-alongs. You got exclusive discount codes for our store, there's one currently right now. Yep. Biggest sale we've ever had, I believe, for the McAfee Mafia members. We're very, very thankful for you. Before we get out of here, Zito, let's get one last update on the poll. Let's get a couple questions from the YouTube. Let's go ahead and check in with the internet before we have the greatest weekend of all time and Hammer Don with Tone Diggs and Michael Lombardi kicks off.
Yeah, so for the poll, 10 years from now, who will be the better quarterback legacy?
What was that?
Who has the better quarterback legacy?
Okay.
I misread that.
No, you didn't.
Baker Mayfield, 10.4%. Joey Burrow, 89.6%. He is dominated.
How many votes?
24,000.
Gee, hey, that's a big ass.
That's a big poll.
Like you always have to think about anytime you see a big old poll happen.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of polls now because we're in election season and people use polls for everything. You have to wonder who's being asked and how many people are asked this question. Yeah. That should always be your number one question. It's like because if you walk outside Indianapolis and you ask 10 people and you go, "Hey, do you know who Pat McAfee is?" Yes. So we could say, okay, 100% of people that we polled from America, the way you phrase it, say they know. But if you go outside of this place and ask a couple of people and you ask 10 people, I'd assume there's 7 to 8 people that say no, which drastically changes the way that poll is reflected is only 20% of people in America that we asked no. So there's always ways to kind of move polls. 24,000 people voting, though, that is quite a large sample size, including the fact that we have a lot of Cleveland people that follow along.
Yeah. A lot of data.
I would wonder how many. That's a very large. Hey, Zito, you might have the best poll out right now.
That's a good poll.
That's a good poll.
Oh, yeah. Stopping everybody.
Any YouTube questions before we get out of here?
Massive poll for those Cleveland folks to suck on.
Oh, come on.
Jeez, Nick.
Come on.
Golly, dude.
From MDS3, he basically said it's completely crazy how the NFL are stooges and not using your review process.
AJ, you heard me go nuts on the review process. I've done it numerous times. A lot of people have heard it. The fact that they didn't just take the XFL's review and just throw it into the NFL season like, hey, just like we did with the Skycam the first time you guys were around. That one didn't work. This one went out of business because there was a guy selling nachos with COVID. But we will take the review thing and just throw it right into our league. I don't know why they don't do that. Last night, 7 minutes to decide that was an incompletion, let alone the pass interference that could have been reviewed there on Odell Beckham. There's a lot of things that I think in the review system are just so stupid. And it's almost like they try to make it as bad as possible so that people don't want more review. I don't think it's the concept. I think it's the execution. I think you can make that a lot better, a lot more efficient, and make the games more fair and overall product better. I honestly believe that.
Well, you're 100% right, and it will get to the NFL, but they can't do it right now because they want to make it look like it's their idea, and they have some new technology and this innovative thing. Like, they don't want to say, like, hey, we just ripped this directly from the XFL, which I don't know. I think I'd give them more credit if they were open to it. Say, you know what? We were watching some XFL broadcasts, and we felt like this could help all of our viewership, so we implemented that. And So probably next year when they make it look like it's their idea.
It'll probably be next year before the XFL gets back off the ground and has it again, and it's been a year removed from the XFL. I just hope so because I think it's good for the game. And by the way, if you get a bunch of ex-players who get certified, and they're the ones, by the way, probably play video games so they can run the Xbox controller. They've been in the position that the players have been in before. I think that's also good for the NFLPA, the NFL. I think it's just, and for the refs, I think it's just, it makes everybody's life better. It makes no sense that they haven't done it yet. But to your point, if they wait until next year, we're 1 year removed from the XFL doing it, the NFL rebirthed it, reimagined it, and the XFL isn't back. You're 100% right. I just hope they get it done quicker. I just hope, because I think technology can be your friend. It doesn't have to make the game slower or worse and anything like that. I think we can make it much better, and the XFL proved it. Let's just fucking do it already. Any other questions,
So from Fernando Galvin, I assume Pat was saving a birthday shout-out for the greatest soccer player in the world today?
Happy birthday, Christian Pulisic.
Wow.
Happy birthday. We knew that, AJ. AJ, we knew it was his birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I said it earlier. I don't think my mic was on.
Oh.
Classic.
Oh, yeah. Really? Really?
Also, I got to talk to some boys in the back because I did a podcast. I was a guest earlier, and I guess the host, this nice young lady, reached out to some of the boys to ask them things about me.
Really? Oh, really? I didn't.
I feel like they were a bit sarcastic in their answers to her, how she presented them to me.
No. I didn't heard anything about that.
Was it Nick?
What?
No.
No.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
What were you asked? Just so we know. I'll be able to tell you who it was if you ask me the question.
So she said, so I talked to some of the boys, or Pat's boys, and they told me it's your lifelong dream to work for Gary Vee.
Yeah, okay.
I can tell you that probably.
So it's all the boys. It's all the boys looking out for you. What was your answer to that?
I said, how did you know? Yeah, I've been trying forever.
She didn't ask
I said,
about
no, I respect the hustle, everything. But no, I mean, I'm not leaving. I know he's in New York City. I can't go.
Because COVID,
Shame.
obviously.
Shame.
Because you didn't travel at all during that thing, didn't you?
No,
not once.
AJ racked up more miles on his airline cards than any other human during the COVID.
Anybody. Driving. We drove to most of the places.
Oh, yeah, and you guys
Now
were
you
safe.
did.
I remember those big old masks you guys had on there. It was like the jaw mask. It came out there, the whole thing like this. You know what I mean?
Custom made.
You don't have to apologize.
Yeah, I don't have to apologize at all. AJ, thank you so much. Hammer Down is about to start on the other side here. Have a great weekend, brother. We'll talk to you on Monday.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, see you. Cheers, everybody.
Yeah, cheers.
Have a good weekend, team.